Hello and welcome to Bosch Professional Live UK. I'm Chris Murray.
And I'm Danny Parks, and today we're going to do something, well, completely different than our normal live streams.
We're going to be looking at all the power tools that run on the Bosch 18-volt system, from combis to angle grinders to miter saws.
Not only that, we're going to talk about how our batteries are compatible throughout our entire 18-volt range, how our machines have inbuilt safety features to help keep you protected, and also the fact that you can now run the equivalent cordless machine on just one battery.
And when we say everything, we mean everything within the 18-volt system. So if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat and we'll answer them throughout the live stream.
So I hope you're sitting comfortably, because this is going to be a big one.
So let's get started looking at the Bosch Professional 18-volt system. Well, what can I say? What an amazing range of tools and innovation, all within the 18-volt system.
Why don't we get things started with woodworking?
So what we've got on the desk in front of us is our very wide range of GSRs. We've seen previous models in the past, such as the GSR 18V-21, GSR 18V-28, but now you can see that our entire range of drill drivers is now brushless.
There's a massive advantage to be had from brushless as well, so it really does fill out the range now.
The advantage to you as the user is using a brushless machine means you get a more efficient product, so you get up to 3 times longer runtime while using an 18-volt battery. When we start at the beginning of the range, we've got the GSR 18V-45.
Yep, I really like this machine. I think the size of it is fantastic. It's the size of a 12-volt machine, even though they're a lot smaller. But with the power of an 18-volt machine, so really quite high torque levels as well. Yep,
45 Newton meters of torque on that first machine. Next in the range, we've got the GSR 18V-55. So if 45 Newton meter torque isn't quite enough, then you can just jump up slightly to the 55 series. Still brushless, still got all the standard things you'd expect on a drill driver.
You can see there it's growing in size slightly at the back because of the larger motor.
Now moving into the mid-range, we've got our 60 series, and you also see we've got the 60 series FC, so the GSR 18V-60 FC, our flexi-click system with the removable chucks.
Yeah, fantastic range of accessories for this as well. We've got offset heads, 90-degree heads, even an SDS Plus attachment.
So if you're doing things like kitchen fitting, flexi-click is the way to go. It is so versatile.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of 5 machines in one.
Now to a new product, the 90 series, so the GSR 18V-90C. So these two machines were connected. I forgot to say that the 60 was a C, so is the 90. Comes with a few additional features. because you could argue that the 90 is going to replace the 60, or technically has replaced the 60 as our mid-range drill driver. This machine comes with both a selectable kickback control, but also has an electronic precision control, or electronic precision clutch.
Yes, in actual fact, really useful feature on this particular machine.
Now, we're not going to have both of these machines in the range, so essentially what's happening is the 90 is going to replace the 60. So I'll take that out. But then, what about the flexi click? Are we going to remove the flexi click? Yes, we are. We're going to be upgrading the GSR 60 flexi click with, Dan?
I've got here the 90 flexi click, so we'll pop the battery across on that one. And there you go. We've got a flex click version of the 90. The advantage of this is you won't have to buy any of the attachments new. All the original attachments for the 60 fit on the 90. So if you were to buy that machine naked as an upgrade, fit straight into the same carry case.
Let's prove the point. Let's put on some of the additional heads, and just to show that the flexibility and also the interchangeability of the original flexi click heads.
There you go.
I'll do it,
I've got the offset head there.
So the offset, oh, good catch. One of the main advantages with our flexi click system over many others is the fact that you do not need to remove the head to change the angle. Just pull the attachment round, and then you can adjust it far quicker, far easier.
Much quicker.
Let's change one more head while we're here.
There you go. That's the SDS one. Made it difficult for you there.
There you go. So now you've got yourself a nice little compact SDS hammer.
Yep, just over 1 joule, I think, of impact energy on that. So, yeah.
Let me reset it quickly back to its normal orientation, and then we'll continue down the range of products. The important thing to note here is the 90 series is a little bit of an improvement on top of the 60. So not only do you get all the additional features of the selectable kickback control, the electronic precision clutch, but you get slightly more torque too. Exactly. So if you're wanting a mid-range combi, the 90 or the 90 series of flexi click, excellent upgrade. Now moving into our heavy duty products, we've got the GSR 18V-110C, another connected product with 110 Newton meters of torque.
Yeah, this one's a bit of an unsung hero because it quite often gets forgotten between the new 90 and the next one we're going to talk about. But really an outstanding product, really quite powerful for a combi drill, and also keeping the size and weight down as well.
Yeah, so it's called heavy duty because that's what it's designed for. Originally this was the flagship of the range on the standard 18 volt range, but now because we've got our BITURBO Brushless combi on the end here, the 150, so the GSR 18V-150C, still an absolutely excellent product, but if you want absolute maximum amount of power, then it's the BITURBO Brushless machine for you.
That's it, yeah. Well, that one we know is outstanding. We've covered that before in a couple of live streams, so yeah, really outstanding package of power there from that BITURBO machine. Yeah,
we've done many videos in the past. I mean, the fact that it'll do 150, technically a little bit more, but it's expected to do 150 mil hole saw in wood. Tremendous amount of power.
That, and it's coupled with some flagship features as well. On that, we've got the electronic angle detection, and again, the start for the selectable kickback as well.
Exactly. When you're talking about protection, that's obviously an important thing to do, and we are talking about protection later in this presentation, but the fact that the mid-range products up to the flagship products all have kickback control, which keeps you safer on site. I mean, you might not think it's a big deal, but trust me, if you do get a severe kick and you're not prepared for it, you know, there's a good chance you might hurt yourself.
It's a lot of time off work with something like that as well.
And with something as powerful, even 110, but definitely with 150 Newton meters of torque, you know, that's quite a lot of power going through the machine.
That is. It doesn't take anywhere near that amount of torque to really damage the bones in your arm.
Exactly. So when we're talking about battery packs, obviously we talked at the beginning of this live stream, we were talking about a 5.5 Pro Core battery. Just to prove the point, Danny?
Right. We can show on the baby of the range. Again, one of my favourites. You can fit the 5.5 Pro Core straight on that machine and away you go.
Exactly. Remember, if you are using a BITURBO brushless machine, our recommendation is always to use the 5.5, the 8 and the 12 amp hour, because that means you get the maximum amount of power out of your BITURBO machine.
That's it. And there you go, to prove a point.
So already got one on there.
Do the honours on that one. Oh, we're all in.
Exactly, so 5.5, 8 or 12 amp hour batteries. So that's the range in a nutshell. If you want to find out more information, we've done many bits of content. We've done a previous live stream on our drill driver range, so feel free to check that out. Let's move on to the next product.
So, as we're just saying, everyone's got a combi drill driver. Chances are they're going to have an impact driver as well. So this is our little impact driver range.
So looking at the range, we start off with our entry-level impact driver, the GDR 18V-160.
160 is quite a large amount of torque to have on an impact driver, so a good entry-level product.
Exactly. As a GDR, that's got your 1/4-inch internal hex, perfect for your screw driving applications.
Yeah. Remember, on these machines, using impact driver bits.
Correct. So next, we're moving up to the next in the range, which is our GDR 18V-200 and our GDX 18V-200. So important to point out that within the market, we're the only people that have the hybrid. So we're talking about here an internal hex, and we've also got the 1/2-inch socket on the outside.
So it's not only an impact driver, it's an impact wrench as well.
So that's our, you could say that's our bread and butter of the range in the 200s. That's 200 Newton meters of torque. Plenty if you want more than 160. 200's ideal, really.
Well built machines there, full gear, all metal gearboxes, including the outside structure as well. So very, very tough machines there.
Next, we move on to the GDR and the GDX 18V-200C. Okay, these used to be our flagship for this level of impact driver and impact driver wrench. Main difference you had with these machines, and they are still out there in the market, is the fact that first off it's a C, so it's a connected product. But that came with a couple of other advantages too, and you can probably see at the bottom here, you had both the ability to change the speed selection, so you had 3 speed selections that you could change within the Toolbox app to whatever you want, and you had the ability to toggle the light on and off, just a little bit of extra convenience.
That's it, yeah. Give you a little bit of extra power out of the battery.
Yeah. While these products are still out there in the market, technically we've discontinued them and replaced them with the next series, which is the 210 series.
Yeah, so this is not only have you got a step up into a higher torque output in these machines, but there's a lot of bells and whistles that come with these as well with regards to the connectivity that really does open these machines up to a whole new way of working though.
Absolutely. They're connected, and you can see at the bottom we've changed the way we do the human-machine interface or the tool interface. You've got both your 3-speed selection that you can change via the Toolbox app, but more importantly you've got the AB torque mode.
That's it, there's a lot of functionality with that, from limiting the amount of torque that you're applying to a fastening, and also functions such as the ABR or automatic bolt release, which allows you to remove a nut but not potentially lose the nut or the washer. So,
yeah, so
we did a live stream on this,
yes.
So if you want to know any more about these particular machines, just tune into our live stream, quite available on YouTube.
So, as I said, although yes, we have technically discontinued those 2 models, but the replacement, the 210 series, is an excellent upgrade.
Far and away exceeds the capabilities of the previous model.
So obviously these are all 18-volt products, so 5.5 amp hour, that's going to fit.
Of course it will. Let's try it on the 200 here. There you go, working perfectly.
All right, so you don't just get the advantage of the amp hours, you've also got potentially the ability to run the tool a little bit harder because the 5.5 Pro Core amp hour batteries got more beans in them.
Yeah.
Okay, impact drivers and impact driver wrenches, perfect. Yep. Let's move on. Okay, so here we are with our 18-volt sander range. The main change we've done within the last few months is we've upgraded all our brushed machines for these brushless machines.
That's it. Well, we'll start over here with the GSS 18V-13. Fantastic little orbital sander. So single orbit on this particular sander. Such a comfortable sander to hold as well. We took the design cues from our Air Tools division on this, so really comfortable to hold. Single button on off there, and a speed control on the side. Really comfortable, nicely balanced, whether you're running with it with a 4 amp hour Pro Core or the 5.5, which we'll show a bit later. But you can see that will fit all of the machines here.
Important to note that the actual included dust bag's pretty good.
Very good, in fact. Yeah, this machine has a fantastic ability to lift the dust away from the material and deposit it in the bag without the use of dust extraction, although you can use it with dust extraction as well.
Yeah, it's a simple friction fit, push on, and you're away.
That's it, yeah. No, that's brilliant. It's really well sealed in there as well, so you're getting the maximum amount of collection. And if you take advantage of the M480 abrasive net system as well, yeah, you're on through a winner there, definitely. It also comes with a couple of extra bases for it. So we've got the 90mm Delta base on there, and we've got the 1/4 sheet base here with paper cutter as well, and the 3rd sheet one that we actually have fitted to the machine here. So the next machine in the lineup here, we have the GEX 18V-125. Now GEX means this is a random orbit sander, so slightly different rotation mechanism than the orbital sander over here. 125, as suggested, is the size of the base plate here. Fantastic range of base plates, different types of hardness on here. And again, we've got the M480 system on here as well to show that the dust extraction is every bit as good as the last machine here. Similar design mechanism, they're all interchangeable with batteries, as we've covered already.
Right. Yeah, currently got the the ProCore 4 amp hour, fits nicely, but as always the question is 5.5?
Yes, of course it'll fit. We'll try it on the GSS. And there you go. Might sit at an angle like that, but
I mean,
yeah,
again, the 4 amp hour is probably quite a lot of runtime anyway, but again, you can easily upgrade to the 5.5, even the 8 amp hour if you want additional runtime without having to worry about charging.
Yeah, in fact, when you're using this particular machine, the weight's back up underneath your wrist. Very comfortable to use, even with the larger batteries on there.
Nice. So 18 volt sander range, perfect. Let's move on. Okay, so what we've got in front of us is our entire range, or our current range of 18 volt jigsaws.
Previously, we only had 2 machines in our 18 volt jigsaw range, but we've certainly expanded upon that now. Originally, we had the GST 18 VLI B and the GST 18 VLI S. The B for bow handle, the S for speed control. As this has a on-off switch here rather than a trigger, it has a speed control built in to the actual machine.
I mean, personally, I actually really like using the barrel grip. I know there's a lot of preferences out there, some like the D handle or the bow handle. I quite like the barrel grip.
Yeah, I think the advantage is you don't have to maintain a constant trigger pressure to maintain the speed that you're looking for. So there's definite advantages to using the bow handle.
Yeah. So excellent machines. They had a 4-stage pendulum control. They had a variable base plate, so you could bevel with them.
Yep.
All round excellent machines. We've had them in the range for many years, and there was no problems. The only exception was they were brush machines.
That's it. Yeah. So they was due for an upgrade into a brushless motor.
So what we did is we actually expanded from those 2 machines to bring out, essentially expanding into 4 new brushless machines.
Yeah, this gave us the opportunity to step beyond the capabilities of these machines to offer some more innovation when it comes to jigsaw usage.
Yeah. So the first 2 machines we had were probably the nearest to a direct replacement, if we can say that, for the older machines, where we have our GST 18 125B and the 18 125S. Again, barrel grip and the bow handle.
Yeah, similar naming structure than we've used before here.
Same depth of cut capacity of 125 millimeters, but we've made improvements. Obviously, it's not just the brushless motor. We've done some, added a few little extra features. One of the main things I will point out is now the bow grip jigsaw now has a speed controller.
That's
in addition.
Yeah, in addition to the actual variable trigger. So it means you can limit the speed if you are, I would say, used to using a variable trigger. It
still retains a base plate that you can bevel, but there are some additional changes. We've changed how we do the blade change, and now we've got a nice lever on the outside, so you don't need to reach into the mechanism to change your blades.
If you've been heavily using the machine, the blades obviously can get hot, so an SDS system is a must, really.
We retain the 4-stage pendulum control, but we've added the addition of a blower function that we can switch on or off depending on whether or not that's what you want. With the older machines, it was locked on.
It's a lot to do with personal preference. If you're not using dust extraction and you're not benefiting from the removal of material by that particular method, then the blower is the other best option you've got.
Yep. Moving on from the 125 models, we've also got the GST 18V-155 BC, and we've got the 155 SC. So now we've got the bow handle and we've got the barrel grip, but now we've added on this C to the end, so these are both connected products, so you can synchronize these with your Toolbox app and make some changes.
That's it.
One obvious thing that you can see straight away is that the base plate is now solid.
That's it. This is more designed for processing larger materials on a construction site, but again, it's very accurate when it comes to 90-degree cutting for most materials, and to be honest, most people are going to cut at 90 degrees with a jigsaw. So again, far more power for reducing the amount of capability that might not necessarily be needed.
Yeah, as this is a 155 millimeter machine, a depth of cut, you're not really needing the flexibility of a bevel base.
Yeah, there's also a couple of other advantages to this as well. Because you've got a fixed base there, we've integrated the dust extraction actually into the base of the machine. So we're actually extracting the dust at the point of creation, right at the base of the blade there. It's actually funneled through the base plate and out through an attached tube at the back there. So really second to none dust extraction for this particular machine.
Yeah. And one other thing that we don't want to forget is the fact that we have the ability here to adjust the blade guides. So
so it does that in itself reduces the drift of the blade in the material, so you're not going to be undercutting as much.
Now, this machine, because it's a connected product, it also comes with a little HMI at the back here. It allows you to change the speed settings. You've got your normal preset modes, but you can also tweak those in the app, so you can have them for whatever SPMs that you want, depending on your material. And you've got a number of different speed settings. There's a slight difference between the bow handle, so the BC compared to the SC. The SC also has a automatic mode, which means that the machine will stay at a low idle, and as soon as you apply pressure or put that into the substrate, it'll automatically speed up and go to whatever speed setting you've set that in the app.
It's certainly making the most out of the energy that you've got available in your battery.
In addition, it also has drop control, which is excellent because this machine doesn't have a variable speed trigger, as opposed to has a little lock-on switch here. Okay. I think we've done a pretty good job of covering our new range of jigsaws. Again, the main point is that we still have all 6 of these in the market, so you've got all the flexibility to purchase whichever machine is right for your price point or your performance.
That's it.
Okay, it's worth mentioning that because these are quite high-powered, high-capacity jigsaws, these do benefit from something like a 5.5 amp hour Pro Core. We've got a 4 amp hour on there already, but just like all the other machines, 5.5, 8, you could go 12 if you like. You get a lot of runtime, and you get a little bit of power boost as well.
I think we should have an honourable mention as well for the little multi-tool.
Of course.
Because I believe we've done sanding already, and we've moved on to jigsaws or sawing. This covers the gamut really when it comes to sawing and sanding. So I think it's worth an honourable mention here as well.
Of course, we did a very in-depth live stream on Starlock generally, where we covered all the accessories and all the Starlock machines, and obviously the GOP 18 VLI was a big one of those.
There's Right, we have here our entire range of 18-volt handheld circular saws.
That's right, we've divided them into 2 different groups, and on the left here, Dan, we've got our standard 18-volt machines.
Yes, so 165mm blades on these 2 models here. We have the GKS 18V-57G. This is a guide rail enabled machine. So the guide rail base here is built or designed to work with our FSN guide rail system. We have 57mm depth of cut on this particular blade and this machine here. Now, this is always a really very well respected machine in the market, but we've moved on from there.
Yeah, we've made some upgrades.
We've made some upgrades to it. So basically, this is the replacement that we're dealing with at the moment. Unfortunately, it's not the guide rail version. That's coming shortly. But you can see, based on the size of the motor, we've definitely made some...
Yeah, massive improvements. Because it's a brushless motor, we can make it a lot smaller.
That's it. The footprint is obviously smaller because of the base plate, but when you're talking about the motor design on the side here, it makes for a much more compact machine.
Exactly. Because the name, you can see from the name, it's the GKS 18V-57-2. We haven't lost any of that depth of cut.
No, it's exactly the same depth of cut, exactly the same blade, actually, in fact. We've also made some other improvements here when it comes to the extraction system. You can see the design on this extraction system here, which is actually followed through by the BITURBO machines as well. Far more easy flowing for any material being drawn out by the extractor. The issue with the extraction on the older machine here is you had a little dog leg here for the material to exit, which it caused slight blockages.
It wasn't it's not as efficient. One additional thing that we've added, and I think we can say we've listened to some of your feedback. We've added click and clean.
That's it. So it's a simple twist and lock system on there. And again, if you want to go back to, if you don't have a Bosch extractor and you don't want to go back to or upgrade to click and clean, then it's quite simple to rotate it, lock it back in again, and you've got the push fit adapter there.
Exactly. So excellent machines running on any battery, as you know, any of the 18-volt system. But when you want more power, you want more depth of cut, or you want to run a bigger blade, then you can come over here to the BITURBO Brushless range. These 2 machines are GKS 18V-68GC and C are now running the bigger 190mm blade, allowing you to also get a much deeper depth of cut, 68mm on these machines as per the name. The first machine we got in front here is obviously the GC. It's guide rail compatible and obviously connected, and it has a HMI or a human machine interface on the top, allowing you to change all the different speed settings as well as giving you a little bit of an indication on how the tool's doing.
In fact, it's literally just one button on there, it's dead easy.
The machine itself has the standard quick release depth gauge, so depth adjustment, allowing you to quickly change your depth of cut on the fly. But if you do not need all those bells and whistles, then the standard GKS 18V-68C is just basically a solid, powerful machine without any of those additional things.
Yeah, you're not losing any of the performance.
No.
Just some features that you may not need.
Yeah, it's not guide rail compatible, but it still has that maximum depth of cut of 68mm, so plenty of power. If you want a plunge saw, we also have one within the BITURBO range as well. This is the GKT 18V-52 GC, and it has the single button here to do the actual plunge mechanism. Nice and smooth, nice and easy. The blade is slightly smaller, 140mm, but still gives you a depth of cut of 52mm. Guide rail enabled, of course, connected again, and it has the same HMI and speed settings that you can customize in your Toolbox app. Dust extraction is exactly the same as you'd expect, with the inline dust extraction, just like Danny was saying on the new 57-2. Nice inline, very efficient, keeps the site much cleaner, gets that dust from the material into your dust extractor well.
You may have noticed all the machines that we have here have a blade to the right of the base. This is a class as a right-hand bias machine. Now, we've been listening to you out there, and we thought there's obviously a lot of demand out there for left-hand bias machines, quite well respected throughout Europe. So we've done exactly what you asked.
I've got one here. I think you've got another one your side.
Yep, I've got the left-hand version here. This one is actually coming out soon. This one isn't released yet.
But this one is, and this is the BITURBO variant. This is the GKS 18V-70L. It's in the name, it's left-hand bias. Still running the 190mm with 70mm depth of cut, because it's not a guide rail base.
So this machine here is just the left-hand bias version of this one here. So the naming structure is very similar. This is the GKS 18V-57-2L. Catchy.
We like to make it easy for you. Okay, so now what you've got here is you've got a wide range of products to choose from. Whether you would need it in standard, I say standard, cool pack, 18 volt, or whether or not you need the extra power and capacity on a BITURBO brushless, or whether or not you would like it on a left hand or right hand bias.
That's it. I mean, and always Procore's a great advantage when it comes to just an additional accessory to one of the system tools here.
Yeah, I mean, here we go. Here's the 5.5. Fits perfectly fine on the BITURBO brushless. We'd obviously expect you to put a 5.5 and above on the BITURBO brushless. But, real test. Well, I say test. We know it's going to work, don't we?
There you go. Straight on. No problems at all. So, here we are. Bit of a scenery change. We're going to cover off now our benchtop carpentry tools. So we're going to start here with our GCM range, or our compound miter saw range. All of these tools are 18 volt BITURBO products, so we need that extra power from those Procore batteries. So this is the GCM 18V-216. 216 in the naming structure here refers to the size of the blade. So this is an 8-inch blade, or 216mm. With a depth of cut of 70mm and a full cross-cut capacity of 270mm, really does pack a punch when it comes to a basic, albeit a very, very good compound miter saw.
Yeah, one of the main advantages is the fact that it's only 14 kilograms. So you can see it's got a grab handle on the top, which means you could easily one-man carry this all around site.
This makes it a lot easier to get into difficult situations, like through loft hatches and not necessarily easy to access spaces.
Exactly, yeah. All the controls are as what you would expect on a miter saw of this size. It's got your controls at the back to adjust the bevel, and then you've got all your miter controls in the front, all very familiar to everyone out there.
Bevel adjustment is to 45 degrees. However, this is a single bevel machine, so it only bevels to the left. To do that, you must remove the fence on the left-hand side. They're standard throughout our miter saw range.
Now, we've had this machine in the range since the beginning. Since the beginning, when we brought out the BITURBO range. This is going to have a slight update, or more accurately, we're going to replace this model with an updated version, and that's going to be the GCM 18V-216D.
D? referring to dual bevel. So this is actually going to be removed from the range and replaced with a machine that bevels both to the left and to the right.
Right. So on the point of dual bevel machines or double bevel machines, I'll move on to the next machine here, which I've got the GCM 18V-216 DC. So this is a slight different machine, and it's slightly different to the one that will be replacing the standard GCM 18216. What we've got here is a slightly different machine with a slightly better cross cut. The machine still is running the 216 blade, still giving you the maximum depth of cut of 70 mil. But it has a cross-cut capacity of 300 millimeters.
So an extra 30 millimeters above
exactly
the previous machine.
Now, it has a slightly different name. As I said, it is dual bevel, so you can sling it either left and right, 47 degrees. And it also has a speed controller on the front here. Because it is a connected product, you also get the ability to change those speed settings to whatever you want.
Comes as standard, I believe, that particular model with an expert blade as well. So you really are getting a really efficient machine there.
The fact that it's still an 8-inch, it comes with the handle, and it's only slightly heavier from Dan's model, at just over 15 kilos. So again, not a problem carrying that up and down flights of stairs. The only slight difference to this machine compared to the 216 is the way that the dust extraction works, Danny.
Yes, this has a single port dust extraction, so when you plug your click and clean or push fit adapter into the back of this, it collects the wood shavings or the dust from the rear of the workpiece here, just at the back. On this machine, however, it has the airflow split, so it's picking up from not only down the bottom here, but from up to the top of the blade as well. So again, you're splitting the airflow, getting much better dust collection from that.
Yeah, miter saws historically, that's a very difficult thing to get, good, clean and efficient dust extraction, but that double input really helps try and minimize the amount of dust you get.
That's it. When with dust extraction, it's not necessarily the dust that you can see that's the harmful stuff, it's the fine stuff that you can really take advantage of an extractor to pull out of the air.
Yep, minor upgrades. We've improved the material rests are a bit more sturdy compared to the standard GCM 216. But all in all, it's just a nice upgrade. So if you don't want just the base model, then you can upgrade to the 216 DC. Now, here's an interesting question to everyone, because we have a couple of models coming out in the near future. One of them is going to be a 10-inch 18-volt miter saw. So the question I've got is, and we'll be happy to take the questions in the main section, what do you reckon? 18-volt, 10-inch miter saw in the UK market, is that something that you would like? Because we would like to know.
Important to note when selecting replacement blades for these machines is all these BITURBO machines come with an optimized blade. So a narrow curved blade to allow you to get the most energy and the most efficiency out of the power that you have in the battery.
Those blades are easy to differentiate from standards because it's got a nice simple battery icon, meaning these accessories are indicated for cordless machine use.
Yeah, right on the side of the blade there, can't miss it.
But if I had a pro tip, one of the best things you can do when using any of our circular saws, not just the miter saws, expert blade. That'll be the blue coloured expert blades for circular saws. Amazing bit of kit.
So of course, behind me here I have the 5.5 amp hour battery. Pops on the machine. There, and there you go. There, ready to go.
Important to know, as always, with a BITURBO brushless machine, that a 5.5, 8 or the 12 amp hour is the best choice, but just to prove it, cool pack battery, just the 5 amp hour, I'll pop it on mine. Not a problem. You might get a little bit less power, but it'll still work, get you out of a bind. So now we're looking at the GCM 18V-305 GDC. This is our flagship 18-volt BITURBO brushless miter saw. We've
really stepped up the blade size on this one. So this is a 12-inch miter saw running on the same cordless package that we had before.
One obvious key design feature is the fact that this now utilizes our glide arm for two reasons. Obviously, the actual operation itself is nice and smooth. I mean, it's catching there, but let me just slide that back. There you go. A nice smooth action, but more importantly, if you're working in a workshop, you don't have to worry about the protruding rods that you normally get when you're sliding miter saws. You can put that up right up against the wall, saving precious workshop space. All the controls for this tool are on the front, including the ability to do the bevel. Okay, it is a dual bevel machine because it is a D model, and it's also connected. So glide, dual bevel, connected product. Because of the large blade and obviously the powered motor that runs it, again, BITURBO Brushless motor, you've got a maximum cut capacity of 120mm with a spacer, or a 400mm cut, cross cut with a spacer. So if you really need maximum depth of cut, the 305 is the perfect model for you.
Yeah, match point for point with our 12-inch corded one. So,
to prove a point, I've got a battery here. I mean, we could get the 5.5, but really a model like this really benefits from a 12-amp-hour Procore battery.
Yeah, I mean, you're not worried about the weight of the battery, because obviously it's a benchtop machine. You're not going to be lifting it about anywhere.
You've got your HMI, so you've got your control on the front here, and you've got your additional speed settings, as you'd expect. 3 modes, 3 speed settings, and your eco mode. Safety and startup. This particular model comes with the blue blade, the blue expert blade, for small kerf, efficient cuts without a high loss of material.
Yeah. And all of these machines actually come with the toolless blade removal or blade change system, the SDS nut here. So this is the GTS 18V-216, our cordless BITURBO Brushless table saw.
Yeah, it's running a 216, so a 8-inch blade, giving you a maximum depth of cut of 70mm, while the table gives you the maximum cut to the right of 635mm.
In fact, this machine is based off the same chassis as the 635-216 corded table saw. So you've got all of the innovations we've got from our corded range, as you probably know, been around a long time creating table saws, all built into the 18-volt BITURBO version.
Yeah, depth of cut is done by the wheel here, and we also have the ability to go to a 45 degrees mitre.
That's it.
You've got a double guard for extra protection, and you've got a nice aluminium fence here for accurate cuts, and a very accurate scale, we should point out as well.
Yes, very accurate scale. We also have a safety switch at the bottom here. This is also lockable to prevent people from utilising the tool when you're not there. So added security there. Obviously, it's got the raft of normal safety features and accessories you'd expect, such as a mitre gauge that operates either side of the blade in the T-slots, and also the safety prodder as well.
Yeah, we've got this on the GTA 60W Gravity Rise, but if I'm being honest, it's such a light machine, it's not a problem just carrying the machine in one hand and a little folding stand in the other.
That's it.
Perfect. So just like the smaller mitre saws, an easy job to carry this up and around site.
Yeah.
So there you have it. A good range, or good selection of our 18-volt woodworking products.
And don't forget, all these products are backwards and forwards compatible across our entire range of 18-volt batteries.
So I hope you're enjoying the live stream. Plenty of products that we've been looking at there already, just within woodworking alone.
Yeah, I mean, as you probably have noticed during there were a couple of machines that we didn't include. Now, we have here the GSR 18V-21 and the GSR 18V-28. The reason why we didn't include these in that particular video is these are the brushed models. Still available out there on the market, but at the moment with the videos, we're sort of funneling it into the brushless machines.
That's right. If you want to see everything in more detail on, say, the drill drivers, then we obviously have a live stream already. It was actually, I think it was our second ever live stream. We looked at all our drill drivers and our combis, and that included both the 21 and the 28. Great machine still.
Yes, very much so.
What other machines did we miss? Well, planer, Dan.
Yes, planer. So I have here the hang on, I've got a brain fog.
Mate.
It's a GHO, you're right. It's GHO 18V-Li.
Yeah.
So the older naming structure. This one's been around for a little while now. Again, this is a brushless machine. We're talking about a 1.6mm depth of removal. Belt drive, again, brushed motor on this, 82mm footplate width. So yeah,
exactly.
Very well respected out there, very well used, very well purchased by many of you out there. Again, we'll see what happens in the future regarding our planer range.
Right, what else are we missing from the nailers? Oh, sorry, I've said it already.
Sorry,
I spoiled
it
there, didn't I? What else have we got within woodworking? Obviously, our second fix nailer, relatively new, but as you can imagine, a great woodworking tool.
Yep. Yeah,
second fix, obviously, for the smaller applications, we are working on expanding our nailer range. We've already kind of let that loose. We can't tell you too much yet because we're going to spoil the surprise.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a 64mm, 16 gauge nailer, 20 degrees cassettes.
Yeah,
that's all you need to really know about the machine.
Really easy loading mechanism on these, bump fire and single fire modes on this as well. So yeah, fantastic little machine here.
It's flywheel based, and it's got the elastomers to reset the firing pin. It's all you need to know. Very fast, very quiet, and quite low recoil as well.
Yeah.
So any of you guys have had a chance to try one, it's a real big step up to many of the other nailers that are battery powered out there in the market.
Maintenance on this machine as well, very easy to look after it.
Right, okay, something else we missed? I've got it.
Yep,
Obviously.
I tucked it down there.
18 volt dust extractor.
Yep, so yep, L-class dust extractor, 18 volt, 10 litre bucket. Again, real good workhorse out there. Been around a little while now. Fantastic bit of kit.
Okay, it's important to note, in case you haven't realised, we're also running a competition on our Instagram page. So that's our Bosch Pro UK. So be in there with a chance to win a number of Bosch Professional hoodies. Sometimes might see us out and about in town wearing them because they're really good hoodies unless. It's over 18s only, and you need to be a resident of the UK, unfortunately excluding Northern Ireland. Entries are only possible during the live stream, as we're going to be announcing the winners at the end. So check that out, okay? Right, so let's see, have we got any questions in the chat?
We do indeed. One from right at the beginning of the live stream, asking about the protection of the motor in the tool. Right,
in what way? Overload protection? Because that would be all built into the electronic modules in the majority of the machines anyway. There are, again with the EPC, the electronic cell protection in the batteries as well. So that will step in and cut the power before any damage can happen. Definitely to the cells, but again, likewise with the motor as well.
Yeah, I think we're going to cover a little bit more in depth when it comes to our battery tech in a coming section. But as Danny pointed out, yeah, there's a number of different things. It does depend on exactly what you mean, but if you want to follow that question up, we'll answer it in more detail. We haven't just explained it there.
Anything with a human-machine interface is going to give you a feedback either way, so you should get many visual indications if there's any problems.
Yeah, exactly. Lizzie, any more?
We do. Any guide rail compatibility with the new jigsaws?
Danny, I might have to lean on to your.
I think that would be just using the initial existing sort of foot plates that we do for our older generation of jigsaws. They all fit the new generation as well. So we'll talk about. Well, we've talked about that with those particular machines in the last video. Yeah. So
I mean,
fit in there, no problem.
From my perspective, I'm a bit lazy. Sometimes I just get a really good straight bit of wood. I run along that because I'm lazy that way, but that's just me. I know there are more elegant ways of doing things. We have had similar interfaces in the past for older machines. Worth checking, I think. We'll come back to you on that one.
Definitely.
We've got a few questions asking about new tools coming out. Hopefully we'll get the guide rail compatible GKS 18V 52-2G.
Probably the 57-2, yeah.
That's the one.
We have plans to develop that because we have a very good FSN guide rail system. It would be obviously silly for us not to make a new standard 18 volt 160mm circular saw to run on the FSN guide rail system.
The strides and the improvements that we've made over and above the older model, it stands to reason that we're not going to fall short and not do a guide rail compatible version of it. So that will really be a very good machine when it comes through, much smaller than the predecessor.
Yeah, exactly. So when we get a due date on that, then we'll put it on our social channels, and we'll probably, as soon as we get a sample, we'll do a live stream on that product. Yeah.
Perfect. And then a couple more new tool questions. An 18 volt glue gun.
Oh, good shout.
We've got a very good one on the good glue gun on the DIY range. Not so much on the professional side of things either. Again, we'll cover later on briefly the corking gun. So I mean, you can use instant grab adhesive or something in the corking gun for a similar application. But so far as a glue gun, I've not heard anything yet on the professional range. No.
Well, we've covered this many times in some of our previous live streams. I think we've got. I have to shout to Rob and ask. I think it's over 19 live streams we've had already in the last couple of years. And one of the best things about the live streams is the fact that we have this interaction where you say, "Here's a product. Have you thought of it?" And we're like, "Good shout. Yeah, why not? Professional 18 volt glue gun of some kind." We've had other questions talking about other products in relation to like woodworking. So maybe like a tacker would be a good idea.
Yes.
I think that's a good shout too. I mean, second fix nailer, great. Tacker, maybe. And it's this opportunity for us to get feedback from you directly and put that forward to our product development managers over in Germany.
Yeah.
So they're obviously very keen to find out what in the UK is interesting and what maybe we should develop in the future.
It's a great sounding board for the management and development teams to look at what you're actually after. So.
Okay, Lizzie.
And then last one, is there plans to bring out a new pouch lithium power stack battery like competitors, or think you could redo your cylindrical cell batteries to match or gain more power than power stack?
Yeah, so if you want, I can answer a bit of that. I mean, yes, it is an interesting technology using pouch batteries instead of using, yes, the 18650 and the 21700 cells that we continue to do so. There are some pros and cons to the pouch batteries, which I could probably go on at length and bore the absolute hell out of all of you. I think the main significant thing is for the cost of the actual pouch batteries to having to pass that down onto you, the users. I don't know whether or not it would be worth, in our opinion, whether that's worth the additional cost to you as a user. We personally think, and we will show you in the next segment, we really do think that our ProCore 18-volt battery, yes, it is using cylindrical batteries, but when it comes to realistic use, we're really happy with the kind of power we deliver with that.
Yeah, I mean, they're a very prevalent cell out there as well, so it's easier to get to gain the cells to manufacture the batteries. Not only that, because they're so prevalent, the price is a little bit lower, and we can pass that saving on to you as well.
I mean, theoretically, one of the advantages, again, in theory, of a pouch battery is that it handles high load better. But as you'll see, the way we've developed our ProCore 18-volt batteries, we've designed a number of both mechanical and electronic solutions to manage that heat. So you can therefore drive these batteries really hard, and how they're constructed will compensate for that. So it's kind of, I'll say, swings and roundabouts.
There's an awful lot that goes into a battery than just a storage medium for energy. You have monitoring systems built in there as well, which we'll cover a little bit later.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I think that might be the last question, Lizzie, so we'll move on to the next section. So here at Bosch, we like to think we produce quite a good 18-volt lithium-ion battery. In fact, we've produced over 80 million units worldwide to date.
If you think about it, we're a massive player when it comes to electronics manufacture, through anything from automotive all the way up to your white goods, your fridges and your freezers. So always been a big electronics manufacturing company.
So in 2008, Bosch brought out their first 18-volt lithium-ion battery. Here's an example of them. These all run on the 18650 cell that Dan's got an example here.
There you go, quite small and unassuming, packs a lot of power for its size though.
Now, one of the disadvantages of lithium-ion batteries, like many batteries in fact, is when you use them, either charging or discharge a battery, they generate heat. We knew that when we were getting into the lithium-ion 18-volt market. So what we did is we designed our batteries differently. The main thing we did, or one of the main things we did, is we created the cool pack system. So this red material you see here is made out of HDPE material. This helps conduct the heat out of the cells, out of the battery, into the environment, keeping the battery cool. However, we don't just rely on this passive solution.
We also have ECP built into these batteries, this electronic cell protection. This small module on the top of the battery here controls the temperature within the battery, talking with the tool and also with the charger to minimize strain and temperature on the battery, allowing us to drip feed energy to the battery without causing an overheating issue.
So with these two things in conjunction, that allows you to get up to 4 times longer lifetime out of the battery. We're not talking runtime, we're talking about actually lifetime on the battery, so up to 4 times longer thanks to the technology that Bosch put in the original cool pack battery. But it doesn't stop there. We've also got full electronic compatibility across the entire range of our 18-volt lithium-ion platform.
In fact, that means you can fit a battery from 2008 into a brand new machine nowadays. And also, a brand new battery now will fit a machine back from 2008.
So as an example, I've got a relatively new combi here. I've got the GSB 18V-90C.
Only 2 months old, that one.
Exactly. And I can pop on a very old 1.5 amp 18-volt battery. Perfectly fine. I can also pop on a standard 18-volt battery. This one's a 6 amp. works perfectly fine just as well. So when it comes to our 18-volt lithium-ion battery range, we go from 1.5 all the way up to 6 amp hour. In fact, we were the first manufacturer to bring out a 6 amp hour battery.
6 amp hours is plenty for the majority of our range of power tools.
So where did we go from there? So the trend was that people actually wanted more and more powerful tools, but still wanted the freedom of an 18-volt cordless machine.
The last thing we wanted was to provide a power tool with an underwhelming power supply.
So moving on from the 18650, we upgraded the cell.
Exactly. We went to the 21700 cell, which you can see there, considerably bigger, but not too big.
No, the advantage here is now we've got the ability to draw double the amount of power out of a battery.
So with these new 21700 cells, we created the Procore 18-volt battery range.
In order to manage the additional temperature, we had to make some changes. First off, we went back to looking at how we managed it before with the CoolPack system, and we wanted to upgrade the HDPE material to CoolPack version 2. Here's an example of CoolPack 1, and next to it, CoolPack version 2.
You can see here that we have two cells sharing an opening here in the CoolPack material, the HDPE, whereas with the Procore batteries, we've individually wrapped each cell with HDPE material. So you have direct contact there, drawing the thermal energy or the heat away from the cell and out into the open.
The other improvement that we did with the CoolPack battery platform is we changed the actual material that we make the cell connectors out of.
Exactly. We, instead of using a nickel-plated steel, we went for copper.
Because copper is a more premium material, which has better thermal conductive properties, but more importantly, also has a lower internal resistance, making it a far better material to make cell connectors out of.
The last thing you want is a restriction in a connection to start heating up. Again, we're trying to avoid the heat.
And then finally, what we did is we improved the side panels of the batteries themselves.
So inside the side panel here, we have a TPE, which is a thermoplastic elastomer. The purpose of this is to transmit the heat out of the battery and also eliminate any air gaps, because of course air gaps are insulators for heat.
So what you've got there is you've got a Procore 18-volt battery constructed specifically to deal with the additional heat from the 21700 cell. But it doesn't stop there. Even with all the internal changes, we also improve the outside. All the Procore batteries are made to a very high standard, all made out of glass reinforced plastics, and also feel very, very robust in the hand.
So what's the point of Procore?
Well, the point of Procore originally was to build bigger, more powerful batteries to run bigger, more powerful machines.
That's it. It's not just the application of a larger power supply that offers larger, more powerful machines. There's internal differences as well when it comes to larger motors.
Here I've got an example of one of our standard size motors. This one coming out of a GBH 18 VLI. And as you can see, your standard 18-volt motor.
That's it. And if I pull over one of our larger machines, we have here the GBH 18V-45. Not only has the machine size increased, but the motor is visibly a lot larger. So larger, more powerful magnets, more energy required to turn it, much more torque, much more power.
So now that we've got the battery platform, we can now manufacture the bigger machines, giving you what you want, which is large, powerful machines, 18 volt, but as powerful as a corded equivalent. So let's look at the Procore 18-volt range. There are 4 batteries currently in the range, starting with the Procore 4 amp hour, the 5.5, the 8 and the 12 amp hour batteries. When it comes to compatibility, it's the same messages as before. Remember, all our 18-volt batteries, including Procore 18-volt batteries, are fully compatible with the entire range of our machines. So a 4 amp hour Procore works perfectly fine. Moving up, if you really wanted to, you could pop a 12 amp hour. Bit overkill, still works.
Your time charging is definitely going to be reduced with that one.
Absolutely. So what you've got now is you've got complete freedom on what battery you wish to use for whatever product. You have the advantage on using your standard CoolPack batteries. That's perfectly fine. Your standard tools are designed to use those. However, you have the flexibility to upgrade to a Procore battery if that's what you want.
And the opposite is also available. So if your Procore battery has depleted and requires recharging, you don't have another handy Procore battery with you, you can utilise the CoolPack battery to finish the job that you're on. You won't release the whole power of the machine, however, it will let you get the job done.
So for BITURBO machines, we always recommend either the 5.5, the 8 or the 12 amp hour batteries. So what we've hopefully established is that Bosch make an excellent 18 volt battery. Not only the cool pack battery, but stepping up a level with the new ProCore 18 volt batteries. So well established in the market that we've sold over 80 million batteries worldwide.
So what we've done is we've reached out to some other manufacturers of power tools, very similar to our own. We've introduced them to our battery platform and they've liked it so much, they've adopted it as their own. So they're creating power tools now that use the Bosch batteries, and we are creating batteries that you can use on their products as well.
We've called this partnership AmpShare, and we've partnered with other brands such as Fine, Rothenberger, Wagner, just to name a few.
That means all the partnership products will work with all of the 18 volt batteries in our range and vice versa.
It's worth noting this won't apply to all tools previously, but moving forward, all new products will have this compatibility. It's always worth checking with each individual partner within the AmpShare to see which products are compatible with the batteries at this time.
So it's not just batteries we're talking about here, we're talking about chargers as well. So any 18 volt battery that we've produced will work on any 18 volt charger, from the top of the range 18V-160, the 16 amp charger, all the way down to the 6 bay charger that we currently do.
So guess what then?
Are we not finished there?
Not quite yet. Service.
Right, so we've got our Pro 360 app, or the website where you're able to register your product, battery or charger, to extend the 1 year warranty that originally comes from manufacturer all the way up to 3 years.
Nice. So as you can see there, we supply an excellent 18 volt platform, not just our standard cool pack batteries, but our entire ProCore 18 volt range, allowing you to power any of our Bosch 18 volt battery platforms, be it standard, BITURBO, and also our AmpShare partner products. Okay, so the heart of any cordless power tool, especially an 18 volt power tool, at the heart of that is going to be the battery pack. So hopefully what we did in that little presentation is show you how at Bosch Professional we make what we believe is an excellent battery. But it's not just the batteries.
No, it's not. In fact, I've got one, the charger here I wanted to show you. This is the 160 charger, the GAL 18V-160C. So the world's fastest, currently the world's fastest charger at 16 amps. So this is double the highest that we had last time with an 8 amp charger. The other advantage with this particular charger is we've also got connectivity here as well. We'll go into that in a little bit more detail later on as well. And also a hypercharge function on here, allowing you to charge the batteries even faster. Yeah. So yeah, very intelligent battery charger.
Exactly, I was going to say by far, yes, our most powerful charger, but again, our smartest charger in the range. Definitely. But personal favourite of mine, I'm pretty sure there's loads of you guys out there that also like our 8 bay charger. So this is the GAL 18V6-80. So it's an 8 amp hour charger with 6 bays.
Exactly, sequentially charging as well, so it's not charging them all at the same time. So it's an intelligent charger so far as it'll individually charge each battery to 80% and then finally top it off to 100%. So you're getting the advantage of that fast charging that you get with lithium ion to get the maximum amount of power into those batteries as quick as possible.
Exactly. I mean, personally, within the training centre, we just like the fact that you can keep your batteries on it, carry it around, because obviously you can imagine we've got a lot of tools here, just a few.
Yeah, when we're moving around filming stuff, then having a good selection of batteries with us all the time is good.
Yeah, and the ability that you can also hook that onto an L-box lid as well, which might not sound like much, but trust me, once you've loaded this up, it's got quite a bit of weight. You don't want that sliding around on the top of your L-boxes while you're rolling them around. No. So, great batteries, great chargers. Hopefully hopefully you'll get some questions later on. Maybe you ask us some questions about battery tech, because obviously that's the most important thing and one of the main things that we want to cover in this live stream. Yes, we've got an excellent range of 18 volt batteries. The interchangeability and the compatibility of all these 18 volt batteries with all our 18 volt products is excellent too. But there's the whole ecosystem as well, such as the chargers to come with that.
Chargers, obviously, it's not really spoken about very much, but a very important part of cordless life.
So I think we should go on to the next section. Let's roll.
Right, you can see here we've got a massive range of 18 volt metalworking tools. So why don't we start with the small angle grinders. These are our 2 entry-level machines, the GWS and the GWX 18V-7. So the equivalent of a 700 watt cordless machine. Really quite a lot of power for a little cordless device. So The two interfaces are completely different on these two. We have the GWS with the standard M14 fitment on the front here, and the GWX with the X-Lock system. Now the X-Lock system allows you to replace discs a lot faster than you do with the standard M14. There's no mucking around with the spanner or anything like that. So simply just pop the disc on like that and you're ready to go. Likewise, with you using a gulleted blade like this, you need to be fitting it on the correct rotation. So we thought of that as well. It's not possible to put the disc on in the wrong direction. So correct direction only. One thing to note though, if you do happen to borrow an X-Lock disc off of a work colleague, these will fit the M14 attachments. So if I pop that off there you go. Just check for the direction of rotation of the machine. Pop the nut on. Push down the lock button here, spanner, and you're away to go. Obviously it's going to take a little bit longer, but it's good to know that you can use the accessories off of the X-Lock machines on regular grinders. Right, so let's pop the GWS down for a moment and we'll run through the specifications of the GWX. So as I said before, GWX refers to the X-Lock system on the top here. So we have the X-Lock release lever, we have a lock-on switch here, equivalent of 700 watts corded power, side handle, and also a simple one-button guard adjustment, making it easy to make sure that the guard is in the perfect position for when you're using the machine. This is a lightweight entry-level machine, so let's move up into the range and see what else we've got. Next machine, as I said, we're only going to look at the X-Lock, so we'll take a look at this one here. Pop this away. Right, this is the GWX 18V-8, so corded equivalent to about 800 watts of power. Slightly more powerful than our last machine, has all the same bells and whistles when it comes to single adjustable guard, the X-Lock lever at the front here, lock-on switch, and a straightforward side handle. The only difference with this is it's a slightly older machine, so we're dealing with a much thicker handle here. Some people like this, some people prefer the slightly smaller handle. This is completely personal preference. So we've had a look at our 7 series and 8 series grinders. Remember, all of these grinders are available in both X-Lock and non-X-Lock with the M14 standard thread fitment. We're going to move forward now into our 10 series grinders. So this, for instance, here we've got a slightly bigger range here. This is the GWX 18V-10. 10 standing for 1000 watts of corded equivalent power. Very similar to the last machine we've looked at. This one, X-Lock. We have a lock-on lever on the side here, side handle, and the adjustment on the guard that we've covered off already. Now there's a couple of other machines in this particular series of grinders. This sits right in the middle of our grinder range. Let's go through those one by one. So this is the GWX 18V-10 PC. So this particular model here is a paddle switch version. So has a paddle switch on the front here, or otherwise known as a dead man switch. And we also have the connectivity module here. So this is the first connected grinder of our range so far. So this allows you to adjust the settings within the Toolbox app. Our next model in the range here is the GWX 18V-10 PSC. So we've got the paddle switch on this particular model again, just on the front there. We've also got the connectivity module at the bottom here, but we also have speed control here. So one button, simple selection of speeds, and they can be adjusted within the Toolbox app as well. So you compare the perfect speed to the accessory that you're using. Let me pop a 5.5 amp Pro core on it and I can show you what the HMI or the speed selection looks like. All these machines within the 10 series have drop control and kickback protection. Chris is going to go through this a little bit later on in the live stream in more detail. Now moving on to the BITURBO model machines. Right, let's step up to our flagship grinders here. So this is the GWX 18V-15 SC. S for speed control and C for connectivity. We have a lock-on switch as well here. Now this is the first of our bi-turbo machines, so maximum amount of power we can get out of those batteries going into that bi-turbo motor with stronger magnets providing far more turning force, getting you working faster for longer. So the 15 here, we're looking at 1500 watts corded equivalent power, so more demanding tasks for more demanding conditions. So the entire range here is filled with different features and benefits for these particular machines. From anything from a standard C model all the way up to the all singing all dancing PSC model. So that will be a paddle switch, speed control and connectivity as well, to give you the ability to choose whichever model perfectly fits your task at hand. In fact, all these machines have drop control, kickback and X brake built in. So this is a 15 series of grinders, but there is worth mentioning another machine that we have in the range. So I have here the GWS 18V-180 PC. This is a connected model, same as the other machines here. It has a paddle switch, but you might notice that the 180mm disc on this one. Now this is a particularly special machine because we're using that 1500 watts of power that we discussed with the other BITURBO machines, but this time we're running a much bigger disc. And the main advantage of this is we can cut deeper than we can with a large angle grinder with this one. So it's a more efficient use of the size and the power that we have available. So the reason for this is we're running a small angle grinder gearbox to drive a larger disc, meaning that the cut depth is actually greater than it is on a larger angle grinder. So a larger angle grinder, you're looking at around about 59mm of depth of cut, but on this 61. So you're actually getting a deeper cut with a smaller machine. Now this is all still running on 18 volt. Obviously with the BITURBO machines, we advise the use of a double stack battery or 5.5, 8 or 12 amp hour batteries to take full advantage of that BITURBO motor. So in summary, that's our entire 18 volt angle grinder range. But there are some other tools in the 18 volt range for metalworking that it's worth mentioning. We've covered the range of angle grinders, but we do have a range of straight grinders as well, so we'll cover those off for you now. These machines tend to be used for deburring or metal shaping when using grinding stones. So for the first machine here, we have the GGS, which is our naming structure for straight grinders. So it's a GGS 18V-Li. Now this is the older naming structure when it comes to our power tools. So this one's been around the block a little bit. However, really good machine, really well respected out there as well. So this is a brushed machine. So the machines upwards from here, we're going to be talking about brushless. So fantastic little machine here, good entry level model. Right, next tool is the GGS 18V-20. So 24,000 RPM here. So we're really stepping up the rotation speed. The faster rotation speed gives you the better finish when it comes to grinding stones. Now, this is our first brushless machine. So from this model onwards, we're talking about brushless motor machines. Our next machine here is the GGS 18V-10 SLC. 10 refers to 10,000 RPM, which is the maximum rotation speed of this particular model. SLC, now that refers to the same naming structure we used for the angle grinders earlier. So S refers to the speed control, L refers to the long nose on the straight grinder, and C refers to the connectivity module on the side of the machine here, meaning that these speed settings are adjustable via the Toolbox app. Now, the next machine we're looking at here is the GGS 18V-23 LC. Long nose, connected. We've also, whereas the last machine had an offset nose to it, this one has a centrally mounted nose. The next model is basically the same as the previous model. We have the GGS 18V-23 PLC. So P means we've got a paddle switch on this particular model. So, and the L is the long nose, the C is the connectivity module. Right, there you go. Wide and varied range of grinders there to cover all of your needs. Bear in mind, all these machines are all working on the same 18 volt battery platform. Right, so to finish off our metalworking section in the 18 volt range, we have here some other machines that really round out the range nicely. So we've got the shears here. So these are the GSC 18V-16 and the GSC 18V-16E. Now, the 16 here is a brushed machine and the 16E is the brushless machine. I'll pop the brush machine over to one side for the time being and we'll talk about this particular machine here. So this replaces your tin snips or your regular sheet metal shears. So you're talking about aluminium, 2.2 millimeters of cutting depth on this particular machine, with steel 1.6 millimeters of cutting depth. So it's really useful for processing sheet material, any sort of metalworking sheet material, sidings, that sort of thing. Absolutely perfect for that. We've got a shield underneath here that protects your hand from the metal as it's being cut. And we have a set of blades on here. Now these are really, really tough blades. Plus the fact they're also removable and rotatable. So you get 4 separate cutting edges per blade. Running on the 18-volt battery platform as we did before, lock-on switch, fantastic for processing sheet material. So as opposed to the previous brush model we have here, the handle is a lot thinner due to the brushless motor being able to manufacture so much smaller, much more ergonomic, much more comfortable to handle, far easier to use. Right, our next model we're going to go for is the GNA. Now this is also a metal cutting device. This is a nibbler. So what this does is it uses a die to punch out a semicircle in the material, allowing you to do tighter curves than you can with the shear. Now this does slightly less in aluminium, but the same 1.6 millimeters in steel. So 2 millimeters in aluminium as opposed to the last machine's 2.2. Again, you are getting that flexibility, that ability to change angles are much easier on this particular machine. Far more accurate cutting in some cases. So when it comes to sheet metal processing, you've got a choice here between a GSC or a GNA. So a shear or a nibbler. So the next machine we want to take a look at here is the GKM 18V-50. Now, may look like a regular woodworking circular saw, but this one is different. This is designed specifically for use in metal. This is fitted with a 136mm blade with a 50mm depth of cut in profile. We also have a collection box on the rear here, virtually spark free and very low vibration for this particular machine. This is a brushed motored version. We don't do a brushless version of this. Very easy to adjust the depth of cut here with the lever on the side. So you can see this is a rather compact machine capable of a depth of cut of 50mm in profile and also brilliant for processing sheet material as well. Now let's move over to the last product we have here. We have the GRG 18V-16C. Now we bought this out late last year, so it's fairly new to the market. 16,000 Newton meters of pulling force with this particular machine. Now this takes stems for pot rivets up to 6.4 millimeters all the way down to 3 millimeters. There's 4 separate heads for this, so it covers a wide range of pot rivet applications. We have on the bottom here, we've got a full auto function as well as a manual function. This allows you to do part of the application or a full application of a pot rivet. We also here have a service button as well, which tells you basically when to check the teeth on the front of the machine, whether they need replacing or not. So just a little warning there so you get the most out of your machine. It does actually come with a spare set of jaws with this particular machine as well. On the rear here, we have a little location for a spanner at the back here. So all the tools needed to use this machine are actually within the machine itself. So you haven't got to worry about scrabbling around looking for a particular spanner. As you can see, we have a connectivity icon at the bottom here. Now this means you don't need the module. The connectivity functionality is baked into this machine, so it's already in there. We have 4 different collets on top of the machine here, going from 3mm, 4mm, 4.8mm and 6.4mm. So it means we've covered a wide range of tail sizes for pot rivets. We have a collection bin on the back here, which allows for the collection of the tails. To top it all off, it's a brushless machine as well. So you're really getting pretty much every bell and whistle that you can on this particular model. I think we've rounded off the metalworking section of the live stream. I think you can agree we've got a really comprehensive range of 18-volt power tools, all using the same 18-volt battery.
You know what? Well done, Dan. That was a lot of product.
There was a lot of product in there. But then again, there were some machines that we didn't actually get a chance to cover there. Namely the GCB 18V-63. There you go.
Well done.
I remember that one as well.
Mate.
So 63mm throat on this particular machine. Again, this is the new version of the GCB. This has a fixed handle at the front as opposed to the side handle that was removable. Yeah, I find this one quite a lot more ergonomic, quite a lot easier to control as well. A good sight of the blade when you're cutting through pipes. But this will flush cut to any pipe, copper, steel as well, plastic pipes easily. So flush cut into walls for plumbing work, absolutely perfect. So yeah, nice little machine there. But again, still part of the range. We've still got that. We're still moving forward into improvement of these machines as well. So yeah, it's really good access to the blade in this, much better than the original. So.
Yeah, it's a good machine. When we use it plenty in the workshops when we're doing any kind of pipe work, profile work.
Yeah, I find it's a really clean cut as well. Minimal clear up when it comes to finishing for plumbing fittings.
Yeah. I don't know if you mentioned it again. Low vibration.
Yeah.
Virtually spark free. So if that's a requirement, it's a really good tool. Yeah. One of the tools we missed out. I say missed out. I mean, we had Dan had so many grinders to talk about. We kind of left out this one, which is the GWX. Remember, it's X-Lock.
Yep.
Okay. 18V-10 SC. You had the 10 PSC as your final flagship.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's basically the same machine as the PSC, except it's got that lock-on switch instead of the paddle switch there. So speed control. Connectivity.
Yeah, so out of the two favourite grinders, I mean, this would be my bread and butter. I quite like having the lock-on switch. I feel quite happy because we've got the kickback and the drop control protection. Then I feel less like paddle switches are a requirement for me personally in my day-to-day. We don't have that restriction, but we do know that paddle switches in general are probably going to become the mandatory thing on many sites out there.
Don't forget the fact that if it's got a paddle switch, it still has drop control as well. So should you be grinding or cutting through a potentially hit electrical and tense up, then it's still the falling of you down to the ground would also switch off the grinder as well. So there's no level of safety, even on a paddle switch grinder.
Yeah, I think we saw a question earlier. I think it was even before the stream started, where someone was asking, why would you need this drop control function if you've got a paddle switch? And
well, it uses the same sensors as the kickback, and that's a no-brainer. So it makes sense to have some sort of drop control in there as well.
Right. So what other tools the eagle-eyed out there might be shouting? What about recip saws? Yeah, fair shout actually. We left them out of woodworking, partly because we think, well, it's a bit rough for woodworking, but true. Depending on what blade you put into a recip saw, again, one of my favourites is going to be the GSA 18V-32. I love this recip saw. Whatever blade you put in there, if you put in one of the expert for tough metal, then this becomes a very good metal working machine.
Yeah, go through steel beams with this with ease. Yeah.
We've done railway line with this machine with the expert for tough metal, extra hard, thick tough metal. That's the one, so recip saws, excellent machines as well for doing, well, rough cutting.
Rough cutting, demolition, so many different applications for these now. The range of blades has really opened this particular machine up into many different markets. So yeah, it's a good all-rounder really.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's good for woodworking, again, good for metalworking. So Lizzie, I believe we've had a lot of questions come through.
We have indeed, mainly from PF cutters, but there's also one, someone asked about a cordless paint sprayer.
Good shout.
Yep, we've got one in the DIY range, not as far as I know in the professional range. They're more sort of low volume, I can't remember this, high volume HVAP or something like that. I can't remember the actual terminology around it, but not that I know of in the professional range. No, not going that direction.
I mean, some of our partners within the amp share have a very, very good range within paint sprayers.
Yes.
But within at the moment currently, I don't think I've seen any plans for Bosch Professional themselves to produce a professional paint spray.
No.
Not yet
Not
anyway,
yet,
but
no.
Good question. We'll push it up the line.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're going to look at some of the other questions from PF Cutter. I mean, there was a few that came through there. There was quite a few actually. So I think you acknowledged there's quite a few products in there. A lot of them are good shouts. A lot of them are really good products that I recommend. You know, that I probably would like to have in the range as well. When it comes to some of the pipe work machines, metal pipe work machines, I do know that in the future, or coming soon, that there is going to be a lot of development in these kinds of products. But I can't give you too much detail yet because it's a bit too early day. So, but when it comes to pipe products, yeah, I think there's something really exciting coming.
Yes, I think keep an eye on the socials.
Definitely. Right, so got to remind you guys as well, don't forget we're running a competition on our Instagram page, so that's Bosch Pro UK. We've already had one winner of a hoodie, well, potentially one winner for one of the hoodies. So if you want to be in the chance to win one of the other professional Bosch Professional hoodies, you've got to be over 18 and you need to be a resident of the UK, excluding, unfortunately, Northern Ireland. Answer the question on the competition and make sure you get that answer in before the end of the stream because we're going to be announcing the winner at the end. When it comes to competitions, Me and Dan had a bit of one as well.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a competition, didn't we?
Yes. I know the result.
So do I.
So, who do you think won? We ran a competition between ourselves on who could put on and remove, I think it was 6 X-Lock accessories.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah. There was it was a good plethora of accessories we had there to change. Had to do it as fast as possible. So yeah, direct competition between you and me on that one.
All right. So, question out there: which one of us won? So, let's do the first race.
Right, so this is an idea of exactly what accessories we were fitting. So there's a grinding stone there, the carbide multi-wheel, the diamond multi-wheel, a diamond galleted blade next to that. To the bottom there you've got the Prisma system, and at the top you've got a diamond hole.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh.
God, I picked up the wrong way first time.
Oh, Dan's behind. Oh no, Daniel. Oh, this one. Oh! Oh. Prisma's gonna catch me out. Yes! He's done me! Prisma's done me! I was robbed.
You were
robbed.
on that one, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think I got better excited at the end there as well.
Yes, I think because Dan knows that normally I'd win that.
Well, we realised as soon as after this we decided to go best of 3. So
yes,
yeah.
But I want to prove a point. Prisma's it was my Achilles heel, but it is not actually as difficult. It's always one of those things that when you're under pressure, right, and you're really rushing, you make those mistakes, right? And it really, it's as easy as that.
Yeah.
Cheated. Anyway, I am a sore loser, so it became best of 3.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh. My prep phase is wrong.
Oh!
Close. This charisma gets close, but no cigar, Dan. So
no, that was an equaliser there.
yeah, 1 each. I mean, yes, I think I remember. I think I'd set myself up to fail there because I mixed up my different blades. Because remember, a good point there is some of those blades are directional, so you can't put them on the wrong way. As Dan said in the beginning of the metalworking, I made a mistake. Some of mine are muddled, but I still won.
Yeah,
so,
not quite sure how that happened.
I don't know how the poll's going, but 1 each. So who's going to win? Let's play the last one, the decider.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh no! Oh no! No!
Yes! Champion of the world!
Well, the proof's in the pudding, my friend.
Well,
there it is.
Congratulations, Dan. It was a good race. He did win, but I don't mind because I've still got the events record. I know it was only 5 different blades, but still 9.5 seconds. It's just because we didn't do Prisma.
I've kind of got to admit, I think there was a lot of luck involved in that with me winning.
But well deserved to Dan.
I will take the win.
He can have another hoodie for winning there.
Oh,
so well done. Yeah. Enough fun and games. Let's go on to the next topic, which I think you're doing this one, Dan. You're going to talk about connectivity.
Yes, connectivity. Yep. So let's talk about connectivity. Many of you out there have been operating power tools for years without the use of any sort of connectivity. It's not a necessity for the use of power tools, but as we will look at now, it can make your life a lot easier. In fact, in future generations of connected power tools, the connectivity module will become integrated into the power tool from manufacture, so the need for an additional Bluetooth module will be eliminated. With regards to power tools, in its simplest form, the connectivity function allows for remote control of various products, such as our range of connected lights, allowing you to switch on or off multiple lights with just the tap of a button. Then there's the measuring tools range, from controlling remote control mounts to adjusting laser functions when the device is not easily accessible. Personalise your power tool to achieve the best results thanks to personalised speed and comfort settings via the Toolbox app. Our grinder range machines, featuring an S in the name, will allow you to adjust the rotation speed for each of the settings, allowing you to tailor the rotation speed to the material you're cutting or grinding, as well as ensuring you do not exceed the maximum speed on many specialist accessories. Initial control via the HMI or human machine interface is fully adjustable via the Toolbox app on such tools as the GSR GSB 18V-150C. The use of EAD or electronic angle detection custom settings would not be possible without the ability to connect and adjust using the Toolbox app. All this controlled by just one button on the tool. Where the connectivity really comes into its own is with the latest range of impact drivers. The connectivity features on this range of products allows the user to limit the tightening torque of the machine to accurately repeat the same fastening torque over and over again, providing consistency in many different materials, allowing the user to create a library of settings specific to their most common applications. With the additional settings such as ABR or automatic bolt release, which prevents the loss of nuts and washers when loosening fixings, you can really see the advantages of connectivity here. Connectivity also allows the logging of the kickback and drop control activations, as well as tool alerts such as battery overheating. So should you have an apprentice, you can ensure any tool misuse can be followed up by some advice to ensure safer working in the future. We're not just limited to power tools with connectivity. Our measuring tools also take advantage of it. We have measuring tools giving an immediate visualization of measurements and readings, coupled with smart documentation allowing for a fast transfer of data and easy documentation, such as thermal images, inspection images, measurements and readings, using apps such as the Bosch Measure On, Bosch Thermal app and the Bosch Leveling Remote app, to name just a few. So we've covered power tools and measuring tools, but we also have a connected charger, giving you the ability to monitor your battery via the GAL 18V-160C. Not only the most powerful charger on the market at 16 amps, but also connected, allowing you to set charging alerts, fast charge to 50%, as well as limit to 80% capacity to improve battery longevity. And you can even monitor the battery temperatures in real time. The alerts also let you know when the battery is fully charged, meaning you're not left waiting. As you can see, there's a lot more to connectivity than it may first appear.
Do you know what, Dan? I think you did a really good job summarising a lot of connectivity there.
Yeah, it's quite an in-depth thing to discuss, really, and to fully give it the credit that it deserves.
I mean, we've spoken to a lot of you guys out there in many events, training sessions, etc. Many of the shows we've been at, we've talked, I personally talk at quite depth about connectivity, because I genuinely think this is one of the things that Bosch does which is different to many others, and I think we do really well. And in that section, Dan really just did a top-line summary on what some of these applications allow you to do as a user. I mean, it's only as limited as what you can achieve. I mean, we'll talk about some of our favourite products later on in the presentation towards the end. And I know from my side, one of the machines, the whole reason why I like it is because of the connectivity features.
Definitely.
Right, so we're going to move on to the next section. I think we're going to move on to construction.
Yeah.
So what I've got in front of me is our entire range of 18-volt combis. Now, we've updated the range recently, so now all the way from the entry level to the flagship product are brushless machines. And obviously that gives you the advantage of the fact that you get more runtime out of your battery per charge. Up to 30% longer, in fact. We already did a section earlier talking about our GSR range, and those are all our drill drivers. Now we're looking at our combination drill drivers, or devices or tools that have that percussion hammer action. These enable all these tools to work in stone and masonry, or red brick. We'll start off with the entry-level one, which is the GSB 18V-45. This is our new entry-level brushless combi. Excellent, partly because of the fact that it is so slim. Okay, it's the same size as a 12-volt machine, but you've got the power of an 18-volt platform. If 45 Newton meters of torque isn't enough power for you, then you could step up to the second brushless machine in the range, the GSB 18V-55. This has been a real workhorse for us. Before we had 45, the 55 was an excellent entry level, but now you can choose between the two. 45 has a lot of power. If you need a little more, the 55 is a great option. The next one up is the GSB 18V-60C. It's the first in the range that is a connected product, and it's also the first machine that has kickback control. Now, this machine is essentially being replaced now with the 90. So this is the GSB 18V-90C, still connected, slightly more torque, but also has an additional feature such as the electronic precision clutch. That means that the machine will automatically switch off once it's got to that set torque value that you've set on the wheel here. It also has a selectable kickback control on the front here. So this machine also has excellent kickback control. And you'll see it is much more sensitive than previous models. This prevents over-rotation and causing potentially injury to your wrist or your arm when drilling. Particularly useful if you're drilling in harder substrates where you might catch stones and other things that might jam the drill bit. Moving up to the GSB 18V-110C, again a connected product, has all the same features as the previous two machines. It has kickback control, it has connectivity as well, but it goes up to 110 Newton meters of torque. This has been an excellent machine in the range as our original flagship within the standard 18-volt products. However, if you really want power, you really want to have maximum amount of torque running on the 18-volt platform, then of course the GSB 18V-150C with a massive 150 Newton meters of torque and a maximum capacity of 150 millimeter in wood and 20 millimeter in stone and masonry. This machine also features kickback control, as you imagine. You'd want that level of safety when dealing with that much torque. Also got an extremely large auxiliary handle to help manage that reactive torque you're going to get from a machine this large. In addition, it also has EAD or electronic angle detect to make sure that you're bang on angle when drilling extremely long bits. So as you can see, a really great range of 18-volt combination drill drivers, so you can pick whichever works for you based on size, price and power. Also important to note that of course 5.5 will fit any of these products. With the BITURBO, we would recommend the 5.5, 8 and 12 because that's what you're going to get the maximum amount of power of a BITURBO machine. But you can easily upgrade any of your standard 18-volt machines with a ProCore battery. They'll work perfectly fine. You'll get a lot of runtime out of a ProCore 18-volt battery. Okay, so what I've got in front of me now is our entire range of 18-volt SDS Plus and SDS Max rotary hammers. Now, when it comes to power tools, we like to think we do a good job, but when it comes to hammer drills, we really know what we're doing here. We've got over 90 years worth of experience when it comes to hammer drills. And to be honest, when you think of the SDS Plus and the SDS Max attachment, that in itself was a Bosch invention in 1976 and 1986 that then became the standard. So again, we know what we're talking about when it comes to SDS rotary hammers. So let's have a look at the range. The first one we've got here is the GBH 18V-EC. Okay, it is a nice compact machine running on the 18-volt platform. It's 1.7 joules of pneumatic energy, allowing you to drill up to 18 millimeter in concrete. The next one is a big favorite to everyone out there. It's the GBH 18V-21. Giving you 2 joules of pneumatic energy and giving you the ability to drill up to 21 millimeter in concrete. Now this is a big favorite out there. The next machine is going to be one of my personal favorites because essentially it's going to sit alongside the GBH 21, but it's going to bring a lot of improvements because this is now the brand new GBH 18V-24C. It's connected, it's got integrated connectivity, but more importantly, it's the first one in this end of the range to have kickback control. If you're drilling into concrete, especially rebar reinforced concrete, the chances of you snagging a drill bit and that machine potentially going out of control and potentially injuring you could be quite high. Having kickback control and vibration control in a model of this size and of this price point, that's an excellent upgrade. It also has a HMI and has the ability for you to change certain features. It's also the first tool that has an integrated Bluetooth module, so it doesn't rely on that little coin battery, so you don't have to worry about that going flat or whether or not you have the GCY module installed. It's all baked into the product. Now, real favorite for everyone out there, we have the GBH 18V-26 and the 26F. Now these are 2.6 joules of pneumatic energy and also allowing you to drill up to a maximum capacity in concrete of 26 millimeter. The difference between the two models is the F has the ability to remove the SDS chuck and then you can just reinstall it with a 3-jaw chuck. This machine also has kickback control as standard. It's a slightly older machine, so it doesn't have the same HMI as some of the newer ones, but you had the electronic precision control, allowing you to throttle the machine down to 70%. Now that was a really good feature back in the day, where it allows you to make sure that when you're drilling in concrete, it would slowly, progressively start up. All machines have a variable trigger anyway, but that just made it a little bit easier when you're on site. I have 2 models that I've hidden underneath the desk here. First one I've got here is the GBH 18V-26D. This is the first D-handle machine I've got here on the table. These are really good machines if you're drilling either overhead or if you're drilling down, because the machine itself is a bit longer, which means you don't have to worry about stooping down to the ground to do those kinds of applications. We're talking of 2.5 joules of pneumatic energy, but giving you up to 26 millimeters of diameter of cut, in concrete. The other machine that I've got here is another D-handled machine. Okay, we've got the GBH 18V-28 DC. It's a D-handle, but it's now a connected product. This provided you up to 3.4 joules of pneumatic energy and giving you up to 28 millimeters diameter cut holes in concrete and masonry. You see this one already has the integrated dust extraction unit. There's a number of machines here that also have the ability to attach dust extractors, such as the GDE 16. I believe it's the 24 and the 26 have that facility. This particular dust extractor has the ability to passively pull dust by using the vacuum created by the motor fan, so it's all powered off the machine and the battery pack. But it's a very good dust collector if you're drilling overhead, or even if you're just drilling into a wall if you want to keep the site clean. So these are nearly all of the SDS machines. Now there's one more I'd like to show you before I start looking at the BITURBO Brushless machines. I have a very early marketing sample of the new machine, which is going to be the GBH 18V-28C. Okay, we're going to be looking at a 3.3 joule energy, and we're going to be looking at about 28 millimeters diameter holes in concrete. This machine is going to have kickback control, and it's also going to have the same HMI as you'll expect. So what we're doing here is essentially we're beefing up the older version of the GBH 18V-26. At the moment, it's not going to feature a removable chuck, but if you want a upgraded version of the 26, so this level of the power scale, with all the up-to-date modern mods and cons, including connectivity and the HMI, this will be the machine that you'll be interested in. This machine is also going to feature the same dust extraction facility tool attachments such as the GDE 16 on the front here, similar to the 26 and the 24. So that's our standard 18 volt range. Let's start having a look at our BITURBO Brushless 18 volt SDS Plus and Max machines. The next machine we've got in line here is a personal favorite of mine. It's the GBH 18V-34CF. See, it's obviously connected. This is a 5.8 joules of pneumatic energy, allowing you to drill up to 32 millimeters in concrete. It's a bigger machine running a BITURBO brushless motor. So good to run a ProCore battery on there, either 5.5, 8 or 12 amp hours. It will still run on a standard 18 volt battery, but again, to get the maximum amount of power, we recommend using a double layer ProCore 18 volt battery. The machine features all the standard mod cons that you'd expect, the HMI and the control panel, allowing you to modify some of the settings inside, and also, as you would expect, has kickback control, because if you're going to be drilling large diameter into concrete, you're going to likely catch rebar, and the last thing you want is a machine this powerful snagging. So as I mentioned, it's an F, so it has a removable chuck. So you can remove the SDS chuck, and then you can quite happily fit a 3-jaw chuck for any application that you wish to have that for. Easy as that to change. Moving on now, we're going to look at the SDS Max hammer range. Obviously, these are all going to be BITURBO brushless machines because you need that power. The first one we've got is the GBH 18V-36C. This is a 7 joule now, with up to 7 joules of pneumatic energy, allowing you to drill up to 35 millimeters in concrete and stone and masonry. Again, it has all the features that the 34 had. It has its own, it has a decoupled D-handle like the 34, reducing the amount of hand and arm vibration that you are receiving as a user, allowing you to use this tool for longer and in more comfort. also helps reduce any potential health risks in the future. Again, it's what you would expect from an SDS hammer, or SDS Max hammer, loads of power, nice and comfortable, low hand and arm vibration. Stepping up, we have this machine here. This is the GBH 18V-40C. As you can imagine, it's gone up to 40, so we're looking at 40 millimeters now in concrete, stone and masonry. The machine itself is running at 9 joules of pneumatic energy, so even more power compared to the 36. But if you want to step up even more, then we're looking at this bad boy here. We're looking at the GBH 18V-45C. We're looking at 45 millimeters max diameter drilling in concrete, stone and masonry. And we're delivering up to 12.5 joules of pneumatic impact energy. This machine is on par with the corded variant of our 8 kilo hammer. With these kinds of bigger machines, especially the 40 and the 45, I really recommend running the Procore 18 volt 12 amp hour battery, because if you're going to be delivering that kind of joule energy, you really need more runtime. So that's why we have that 12 amp hour battery there for you. So as you can see, we've got a very comprehensive range of both SDS Plus and SDS Max rotary hammers. We've got variations across the range depending on what your requirements are. We've got many machines that have excellent safety features, such as kickback control. We've got many machines that have vibration reduction technology like the decoupled D handles, but they're all running on our 18 volt platform, whether it's our standard cool pack batteries or whether or not you upgrade and run Procore 18 volt batteries. And then again, if you're running a BITURBO Brushless machine, we really recommend the 5.5, the 8 and the 12 amp hour batteries. All in all, an excellent range with plenty of choice for you to decide which machine is best for you. In front of me, I have the entire range of 18 volt impact drivers, starting off with the lowest all the way up to the most powerful machines in the range, all running again on our 18 volt lithium ion battery platform. The first machine I want to talk about is going to be our GDS 18V-210C. Now, in a previous session, we were looking at some of our other impact machines, such as the GDR and the GDX 210, but here I'm going to be concentrating on the 1/2 inch and above machines. So, GDS 18V-210C, it's a 1/2 inch socket. It's running 210 maximum Newton meters of torque, giving you the ability to run M6 to M16 bolts. This machine features our torque control setting. One of the main features here is you can dial in loads of different presets based on what material you're drilling into and what kind of fixing. So for something like the 210, we're looking at things like wood screws, we're looking at bolt running, and we're also looking at self-tapping screws. And that we've got the functionality in the torque mode setting to dial that into whatever you'd like. We've got things like auto slowdown, automatic switch off, automatic bolt retention. All these features will have some benefit to some of you guys out there, making your day-to-day much easier, but more importantly, making it more consistent from fixing to fixing. We've done a live stream on that feature alone in the past. I think it was our impact driver and wrenches. If you haven't seen that, worth checking out. Danny and I go into real detail on what that function allows you to do as a user. The machine also features a breakaway torque of 370 Newton meters. Moving on, we've got a machine that hasn't quite launched yet. This is the GDS 18V-330HC. Ignore the sticker. It's such a new product that the sticker isn't even up to date yet. This machine also features some of the similar features on the 210. So you're going to have that torque control value, or the torque control setting, and you're going to have a connected product with the ability to change up to 3 different speed settings. The machine has, as I said, a maximum torque of 330 Newton meters, a breakaway torque of 560, and will be used for your standard bolts up to M8 to M18. This is a product that I'm really looking forward to. It's also useful for people working in scaffolding and also doing light automotive work. Moving up to a machine that we have got in the range currently, it's a relatively new one. This is the GDS 18V-450C. 450HC. We're looking at a 450 Newton meters of force, 800 Newton meters of breakaway force, meaning this product is ideal for running bolts up to M10 to M20. Now, this machine is probably best suited to heavier duty automotive roles, but can be used in doing things like concrete bolts and such. Also features the 3 speed settings, and again, like most of the machines here, features the AB torque mode, again allowing you to dial in specific presets via the Toolbox app, so you can make sure that the fittings tighten to roughly the same values every time, or you can have things like automatic bolt retention, so you don't automatically spin bolts off the spindle. These three models are excellent for that, especially for things like scaffolding, etc., etc. Moving up to some much bigger machines, we're looking at the BITURBO Brushless machines to start off, and as you can see, they're much bigger. The first ones we've got here are the GDS 18V-1000 and the 1000C. We're looking at some slight variation between the two models, the non-C and the C model. The first one, you can see that the HMI is a little bit more simplified. We've only got the 3 speed settings and the ability to toggle the light on and off. Other than that, this is still a 1000 Newton meter machine, giving you a breakaway torque force of 1600 Newton meters, and this machine is designed to run M14 up to M24. When you move up to the C, however, you get all the excellent features, partly because it's connected, but also now you've got the AB mode, the torque mode settings that we've had on these previous 3 machines. This again allows you to tailor make up to 25 different presets, so you can set this tool up for whatever application you require. The machine will automatically switch off or slow down or whatever you wish it to do based on the functionality of the Toolbox app. Again, this machine is 1000 Newton meters, half-inch socket, and also gives you the ability to run M14 and M24. Essentially, these machines are the same power, but they've got different functionality because of the connectivity on board here. Moving up to the largest machines we've got in the range, we've got the GDS 18V-1050H and the 1050HC. Okay, so now what we're looking at 1050 Newton meters of force with a breakaway torque of 1700 Newton meters. Still has the same, has the bolt sizes of M14 to M24. And you'll see we've moved up from the half-inch that we had on all these previous machines to a 3/4 inch socket on the front here. So for your bigger sockets out there, you probably, I can imagine that that's what you need for the higher torque values out there. On the non-C, we have the same HMI as we had before, just the 3 speed settings. But on the connected model, you can see that we've got the AB mode again. Just like all the other connected machines, we've got that torque setting mode, allowing you to make all those presets so you can finely tune exactly what you get out of the machine. Really good functionality. You've hopefully seen some of our previous live streams where we talked about impact drivers and wrenches, where we went into a real deep dive into what that technology can give you, the user. With all the big machines, as you can imagine, these are best suited for a Procore 18 volt 5.5, 8 and 12. Because it's a BITURBO brushless machine, it really utilizes that power. But as you can imagine, the good old 5.5 will fit on any machine perfectly fine. You can pop it onto the 210, for example, for extra runtime. Perfect. So that concludes our little presentation on our impact wrench range. As you can see, we've got everything from the small 210s all the way up to 1050 Newton meters of torque. Plenty of range for you out there.
Well done on that one, Chris. That was a really good look into construction tools there. There were a couple that you missed.
Yes, there
not
were a
being
few.
too critical.
No.
But we have here the same as we did talked about with the woodworking tools. We have the GSB, the Combi, GSB 18V-21 and the GSB 18V-28. Again, 2 brushed machines that fit into the range quite nicely.
Yes, still within the range. Again, it's just that because we're trying to move everything towards brushless, we thought we'd leave them out, but here they are. We did a live stream previously. I think it was our second live stream where we went through all the combis, and obviously the 21 and the 28, we went into a bit of depth on those.
Yeah,
but,
we did, yeah.
I mean, when it comes to construction, there's a few other tools that we didn't talk about.
Yep. So yeah, if I move these just out of the way for a second, I've got here the heat gun. Now this was released last year, I believe, early last year. Fantastic, really fast machine to pick up to speed as well. So really good. Really useful on a cordless job site. So it operates at 300 degrees and 500 degrees. So 7 seconds to 300 degrees and 10 seconds to 500 degrees. So phenomenally fast there. Also comes with a range of attachments for heat shrinking and paint stripping as well. So yeah, really good, worthwhile machine for us to have in the range. Yeah, no, great,
no, absolutely,
fantastic.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, one of the tools, or one of the tool attachments which I discussed, but I didn't show you in that presentation, I was talking about this one. I was talking about the GDE 16. The reason why, a machine like this one, this is the GBH 18V-24C. How it works, now you've got a little onboard dust extractor. So obviously I think I had it on one of the D-handle machines. I had the integrated, I think it's a GDE 28, yes. For your normal, I say normal, these style of machines. So I've also got one of the marketing sample of the 28. And you can see that it also is going to fit on this. Now this machine, both of these machines are big favourites of mine. The 28 is going to be a good one. So this is going to be coming out in only a few months actually.
Yes, yeah, very soon.
Essentially it's going to replace the 26 as one of the largest standard 18 volts and non-biturbo machines. And one of the advantages again is the fact that we also have the same connectivity for the GDE dust extractor on the front there. So not only are you going to get a lot more power, remember this is 3.3 joules of energy, allowing you to do up to 28 millimeter in concrete and masonry, but it's also got that dust extraction facility built in on top of that, which is you know, is really good to have. So hopefully I summarized a lot of construction products there. There are a few more actually I should point out. We didn't talk about our drywall products.
Of course, yes.
We're trying to work out where to fit these in. So you've got one, haven't you?
Grab hold of the GTB 18V-45. So great collated screw gun here. There's some. We'll go into this in a little bit more detail later on as well. But real good addition to the range with some added features on here that really set it apart from our previous models as well.
Yeah, I mean, another one we've got the GCU 18-30, so a drywall cutter. Really good if you're an electrician or you're doing a second fix.
Yes, no, fantastic for cutting out socket boxes, that sort of thing. Really, really quite a varied adjustment of depth as well on these particular machines. Good little range of, they used to be the Roto-Zip, didn't they? Good range of Roto-Zip bits for it as well. So for plunge cutting and also for edge cutting. So
that's right. Yeah. So it's been a relatively new product to the range as well. It came out. I think we had we did the new tools, New Year's new tools, which was part of our beginning of the year live stream where we talked about this tool. You did a demonstration on set here today because one of the main advantages is that it's virtually dust free because it's got such a really good integrated dust extraction unit. Yeah,
it's always a risk doing a live demonstration on a machine, but with this one, it was a no-brainer, dead easy to use, almost one-handed really, and I was standing behind the wall at the time, so that's right, yeah. I didn't make it easy on myself for that, but yeah, worked perfectly, worked absolutely perfectly.
Cool. So let's take some questions. Lizzie, what have we got?
We do have a few questions. We missed one earlier about connectivity, asking if all tools going forward are going to have it built in rather than having to buy a separate module.
No, that's a good question. I don't have the full answer. You are right. We've already shown two machines that have integrated connectivity. One was Dan showed the rivet gun.
Yes.
And I was showing the new hammer, the 24, that's got the integrated module. I would say that most likely we are going to move in that direction, having the integrated module. There are a few machines, for example, the 28 here. That one has that still has an external module, but there are, as you can. I have seen that with many other machines that the connectivity module was probably going to be, or the connectivity is going to be baked in because it's more convenient for you. You don't have to worry about having the extra connectivity module and the battery. And from our side, it's probably a lot easier to integrate them as well.
It's a lot simpler for when it comes to when we tend to sell machines with and without the connectivity module. So consolidating the range down slightly so you have it baked in. It's just if it's there, it's there. It's not.
Exactly. And in my personal opinion, we've got products now that, if I'm being honest, and as Danny pointed out in his presentation about connectivity, it's really key for a lot of our products to have that functionality. So it makes no sense to have an option to remove that module because you're losing out on a lot of that functionality. In my opinion, the main point of why you'd buy that model over another.
Saves you buying in for features that you're not necessarily going to use. So gives you more choice as well in the range.
Yeah. Okay. Any more, Lizzie?
We do indeed. More new tool questions.
Good.
Are there any plans to bring out a 1-inch BITURBO Brushless impact wrench with about 2,700 inch pounds of torque?
Yeah, we've had questions about 1-inch drivers. I think when we answered it at the time, we said no, we hadn't seen any plans, and if I'm being honest, I haven't seen anything since then.
Not since then, no.
No, the largest we do at the moment is 3/4 inch, and I covered it in that presentation with the 1050, the GDR 18V-1050C and HC. I know that there is going to be another model of impact driver, but I know that's not 1/2 inch. Okay.
At the moment, basically,
not inch. Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah. At the moment, for our 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch, the main target I think we're heading for at the moment is accuracy as opposed to brute force. So we do have the connectivity features with those impact wrenches that are at the moment second to none when it comes to torque application, rather than just beasting it off, as they say.
Exactly. Any more, Lizzie?
We do. Dave would love to see a 12-volt soldering iron.
Well, you're on the wrong stream, fella. This is 18 volt, but no joke. A cordless soldering iron, interesting. I mean, I know Dremel. We're not going to talk about Dremel. Dremel have a little soldering iron, but that's gas powered. 12 volt. Yes, interesting one. I think we'll put it on the list of things that people have asked for. I don't think you're the first person to ask for some form of cordless soldering iron, so I think that's something we could send up the line.
And what about the drywall range? If there's any plans to make a BITURBO Brushless version of the drywall sander?
Right, we talked about that in the past. An interesting question. The issue we had in general about a cordless drywall sander is runtime, really, isn't it?
It's runtime and weight as well. Obviously, if you're gonna have to run a quite a high amp hour battery to run a sanding pad that big with that much drag on the surface. So you would probably be looking at something in the region of sort of a belt where you could wear the batteries rather than have it mounted on the machine and constantly pulling on your arms. Yeah,
I know where the question is coming from. I know that there are other manufacturers out there that do run a cordless sander. If I'm being honest, I don't think the logic's there from what we've discussed about whether or not it's the right thing to do. I know they have it. It's not where we're going because we don't think that's the right way to do things.
No, that's it.
And then finally, lots of people asking for updates on the 18-volt router and M-class vac.
Oh, well, good shout. Obviously, I mean, yes, we have to address those, and we have done it numerous times. Router?
Update-wise, we've not really heard anything more either on this sort of progression of this particular model. Something we're eagerly waiting for as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's always the question of when's it going to come out. Trust me, me and Danny, we're desperate for it to come out because we
screaming it from the rooftops as soon as we find out.
Yeah, exactly.
Believe you me.
But again, the point is that we know that it's close, but we just can't give you any more information until it gets a little bit further down the development line. Yeah, and that's almost the same answer when it comes to our 18-volt M-class vac. As we showed earlier, very important for woodworking that you've got dust extraction at least. Well, we've got an L class there, but really you want to be looking at a better class. An M class is what you want, and especially if you're working in other materials such as construction, so concrete, dust, etc. Yes, an M class is essential. So we absolutely know we need this M class vac as soon as possible.
These are priority machines that we're currently working on. So yes, they are on the way, but specifics we don't have yet.
Yeah, there's three products. There's three products that Dan and I have got our BDIs on our emails, trying to make sure it's coming or what update. So we're always looking for the 18-volt router, any updates, the M-class 18-volt vac, absolutely, and more importantly, additions to the nailer range because we know something's coming soon.
Definitely.
Okay.
And then we've actually just had a bunch more through. PF cutters again. I love the 6 battery charger. Any plans to make it an attachment to the L-box system?
Yeah, well, I did say it does attach. It's a single side clip-on, so it doesn't clip on to the complete top, but it does hook on. So if you're using a caddy or a barrow, then it won't fall off. It holds on to one side of it. So I don't think we need anything more than that, but perhaps maybe if we make a generation 2, maybe we'll make it clip-on more so.
Yeah, I mean, we're always going for intelligent design when it comes to the sort of the Mark II of any particular product. So again, putting that in the chat and having that there for us is a clear indication that it's required or it's something we can definitely work on in the future.
Exactly.
And then again about the vac, how about connected dust extractors?
Right. Well, how can I say this? Right. One of the reasons why, or one of the potential reasons why our 18-volt M-class vac hasn't come out yet is we're trying to dial in exactly what we want to do when we produce this machine. We do know that we want to have some form of wireless takeoff. So when you activate your machine, be it mains or mains or cordless, that the 18-volt vac will automatically kick in. That's an obvious. So one of the reasons why we're making sure, there's a lot of R&D going into making sure that when our M-Class VAT comes out, it's exactly what you guys want. I can't say any more than that.
No.
Oh, you'd have no idea how much I want to tell you, but unfortunately, for the time being, we'll say M-Class VAT coming, absolutely. Bluetooth? Yeah, well, what do you think? Let's move on.
Just one more question for now. Is there going to be an 18 volt 30mm SDS that will sit between the BITURBO 34 and new 28?
Well, we've got the 32. You've got the BITURBO Brushless 34, sorry, which is 32mm. I don't know. I think we've got, well, I don't know about you, but I thought we had plenty of hammers, but maybe. I haven't seen any plans for that yet. The GBH 18V-40 is kind of like that because we have designed a machine to sit in between our top end 45 and our 36. Maybe. We'll see. Let's see how well the 28 does first. Yeah. Because I think, if I'm being honest, the 28, unless you really want to drill 30mm, the 28 is going to cover you.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say, yeah.
It's got all the connectivity features, it's got all the safety features, still drills 28mm. So it's up to you, it depends on how much power you need. Okay, so, well, we're doing well. We're a few hours in, are we? Yeah, not doing bad at all. There's been 2 winners already for the Bosch hoodies. There's 1 Bosch Professional hoodie left. So don't forget, we're running a competition on our Instagram page. It's Bosch Pro UK. So to be in the chance to win that final Bosch Professional hoodie, get over there and see if you can answer that final question. It's over 18s only. You need to be a resident of the UK, unfortunately excluding Northern Ireland. And remember, you have to get your entry in before the end of the stream because we're going to announce all the winners before the end. Yep. Talking about competitions, we had another one. I know I lost the one when it came to the X-Lock grinder challenge, but what we decided to do was something a bit easier for my simple mind. We decided to have a race. Who's going to win between a GBH 18V-45C, that's our flagship max, flagship SDS max hammer, 12.5 joules of pneumatic energy, versus.
I had the GBH. It's gone.
Yeah, the 8 kilo.
8 kilo, the 845D.
That's the one. That's the one. So let's see how we got on.
And 3, 2, 1, go!
So that was really close there between us, wasn't it? So, yeah.
And remember, when you're using SDS hammer, doesn't matter how much you push. In fact, if you start pushing too hard, then you actually slow down. So it was a delicate race of pushing enough, but not too much.
I was trying to maintain my winning streak.
Oh, yeah. Well, unfortunately, it's a bit of a hollow victory, really, to be honest, because honestly, that 18V-45C is an amazing machine.
Yeah, it matched the other one pace for pace, no problems at all.
Now, you might be asking, what an unusual place that we had to film that in. Yes, true. Yes, you did see a massive whiteboard. Yes, you did see a tractor.
Yes.
And the only reason is we didn't want to do that challenge in the workshop because we've done many videos in the workshop. We wanted to go out somewhere else. And ironically, that's the only place we could find a power supply to run your machine.
Yeah, we were looking for a plug socket for a while out there, weren't we? But,
So I assure you, it wasn't anything cheesy like, oh, let's find somewhere unusual. No, it was genuinely a real problem. We couldn't find power to run that mains machine. And that's the whole point of the live stream, and that's the whole point of BITURBO Brushless. It gives you that freedom without losing power.
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to probably move on to the next section. We're going to move on to safety features, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the next one up.
Let's go. We know we work in hazardous conditions using tools that can cause injury if not used correctly. Accidents do happen and long-term work-related illnesses can be a real problem for those in the trade. Spending that little extra to invest in your working health has no drawbacks. When you're not working, you're not earning. Bosch Protection refers to a wide range of products that offer both active and passive systems to provide protective health benefits in the short and in the long term. They can be divided up into 4 main categories. First, there are the immediate sensor-based systems like kickback and drop control. These protect you during sudden jams leading to over-rotation, injuring your arms, or even hitting yourself in the face, to losing control and falling off a ladder. Even when holding the product correctly, many tools are increasingly more and more powerful. Any lapse in concentration could be costly. These tools feature a sensor that detects the sudden acceleration and automatically switches off the tool until reset. Tools that feature an interface will see it light up and flash red. The relevant icon will also light up to identify what has happened. All activations will be recorded on connected tools via the Toolbox app for later review. These features are common on many of our 18-volt combis, rotary hammers, and our angle grinders. And it's not just limited to the top of the range flagship products. Here we have some mid-range products that both feature kickback control, such as the GSB 18V-90C and the GBH 18V-24C. We are continuing to improve this technology with newer tools, making it more sensitive, with the safety feature kicking in sooner. But if you want to disengage this feature, it can also be done on some models. We also have other electronic and mechanical safeties, such as restart protection. So if a tool is left on and the power is interrupted or a battery removed, it will not automatically start up. You need to switch off the tool and then on again. Basic stuff, but important to have. Paddle switch grinders with a momentary or a dead man switch, and X-brake to stop small angle grinder discs in under a second, all to help reduce accidents at work. Onto anti-vibration and vibration control systems to reduce the amount of vibration the operator receives during trigger time. Some applications are hard on you, be it concrete braking to cutting metal down to length. We do this with a combination of active counterweights, clever energy redirection combined with decoupled handles. This means you can work longer but with a reduced risk of conditions like hand-arm vibration syndrome or white finger. The GSA 18V-32 is an excellent example of vibration control, with almost half the vibration compared to the GSA 18VLI, thanks to a canted recoil design and active counterweight. The same is for the GBH 18V-45C. For such a large, heavy-hitting tool, the vibration is much lower than you would expect. This means you can work for much longer without exceeding your exposure limit values, and subsequently keep away from potentially long-term nerve damage and other chronic injuries. Lastly, we have dust management. Everything you work with will produce dust that, if not controlled, will damage your health. It's accumulative, and while we should all use correct PPE, keeping these levels down on site is a must. From hardwood to concrete dust, this stuff is nasty, and you don't want it in your or your client's lungs. We have numerous solutions from wall-mounted and tool-integrated collectors for drills, grinders, sanders and saws, to accessories like Speed Clean hollow drill bits and the M480 net sanding sheets. As you can see, Bosch has invested a lot of R&D in designing both tool and system solutions to keep you safer in the complex working conditions we often find ourselves in. Well, I think I covered it pretty well there.
I think you did. There's you can see there's a lot of baked-in safety features available on the power tool.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that you might not think you need it until it's happened. And when we started off right back in the day with things like, we called it ERC, electronic rotation control. I'm trying to think back then. That's what we used to call it when it was on the old 36 volt.
36 volt, yeah.
The old 36, the GBH 36 VALI, I think, or the VFLI. And that was a really amazing feature then. That was really important because that was a heavy machine, and it was, again, designed to work in masonry, and you're very likely to jam and get into rebar and things. And then obviously it's progressed over time, and then collectively we start calling it kickback control. And so yes, hammers and grinders. You might not think you need it, but I've seen plenty of videos of people hitting themselves in the face. I know I try to chuckle at it, but sometimes it can be serious. Sometimes it's funny, luckily. But yes, you don't need a lot of force to injure yourself.
No, especially when we're talking about 36 volt machines and the weight of that battery moving around. I mean, that was real risk for real potential injury there.
Yeah. I mean, drop control, I mean, that's another really important feature. I mean, with things like anything with a lock-on switch, regardless, I think drop control is a really good thing to have. A lot of people say, I've never dropped it. Good. Good for you, I mean, essentially. But some people have, and if you do, it could cause some trouble.
On the more humorous side, a grinder driving around the workshop, following it up with a broom, trying to stop it. or you've got the potential of maybe dropping it and someone being close by and getting injured by it.
I mean, I'm lucky. I haven't had to deploy my airbag in my car. I'm glad it's there.
Yeah.
It's never happened to me, so fingers crossed.
Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Yeah.
Now, as a little demonstration, even something as mundane as X brake, okay? Because some people think, oh, big deal, who cares about the brake, right? And on a machine like this, so again, I'm going to bring out the GWX 18V-10 SC, okay? This is because it's an X-lock machine, because it has the ability to stop really quick because it doesn't have a nut. And the reason why we don't want to decelerate a blade too quickly is because you might loosen it, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the inertia, especially on a heavier blade, can potentially undo the nut, and you'll end up losing the blade, the nut, as well as the flange that sits behind it. So.
That's right. Because you don't have any of this stuff, that means that we can stop this blade as quickly as possible, and we quote it to be under a second. And as a quick demonstration, just to prove that the little video that we played before isn't a lie, I'll just start it up and I'll switch it off. It's as quick as that, right? So it might not be a much deal, but when you're grinding, you're doing a lot of work. You put it down, you pick it up, you put it down, switching off. By the time before you even thought about it, that machine's completely stopped. That blade is now inert.
That's it.
Okay. So what else should we talk about? Where should we go from here? I think. Well, I mean, I think the competition's now closed. I think there's been I think someone's finally answered that last hoodie, and potentially won that last hoodie from our Instagram page. We'll get that double checked. If not, I'll remind you guys to get your answers in before the end of the stream. Where we're going to go now is we're going to have a look at some of the miscellaneous products that all run on the 18-volt platform that we haven't discussed yet.
Yeah, of course, there's some products that won't fit into the categories that we've covered off this evening. So why don't we start with our heated workwear?
Good shout. Good shout.
Over here, I've got my heated gilet. I bought it
very
today.
Fond of that.
I will put it on in a moment, but it's not that cold in here, to be fair.
Yes, we did a live stream back when it was really cold, when it was snowing, which is obviously sometimes a rarity in the UK.
Yeah, if you want to go and see a short video of me freezing my bits off, then we have that available on the live stream. I foolishly didn't wear any sleeves while wearing the gilet. So.
If I go to the overhead camera and I'll show you what's the essential part. Oh, there we go. Sorry. It's the GAA 18V- in this case 24. So we've had a couple in the market before. I'll grab one of the. Oh, sorry. That's the 24, which allows you to now adapt this device for use in the heated jacket, because just like the GAA 12 volt, it's got this little connection port. There we go. That little connection port there that you plug straight into your jacket. This will allow you now to run 18-volt batteries. Find a reasonable size example. Will allow you to run an 18-volt battery on your heated jacket.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have tried this and thought it's a bit heavy for putting in the actual pocket of the jacket, but it does give you a belt clip as well, so you can clip that onto your belt, takes the weight out of the jacket, makes it a little bit more comfortable.
That would be my recommendation. It also has the additional features of some USB ports here, so I'll pop that back there. You can see it's got two USB ports, and these are 2.4
ampere.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what's coming out in the next couple, well, I say couple, it's going to be coming out around May, is we've got an updated version. I'll pop it in for the overhead camera again. We've got the GAA 18V-48.
Yeah, so exactly the same size and structure, except we've got a little bit of an update regarding the output, the ampere output on this one. So it's up to 4.8 ampere, this one. So yeah, kicking out a little bit more power. So not only can you run your heated jacket, your heated workwear, but you could charge your phone as well at the same time. Yeah,
with 4.8 amperes, that's a bit better. And obviously everyone's got much more in-demand electronic devices, so having a little bit faster charge is a good advantage.
If you're out on site running an iPad or a tablet device, then having a portable power source with you is really useful.
Oh, anything? Okay, so have you got another unusual product on your end?
Yes, we've got the corking gun.
Good shout.
There you go. So
sorry, back to those heated jackets.
Yes, Lizzie?
Got a question. Those 18-volt USB adapters are out of stock everywhere. Are they getting discontinued?
Probably looking at the 2.8 ampere version of them, but we do have the 4.8 coming soon.
Yeah, the GAA 18V-24. Yeah, that one is probably discontinued.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, corking gun. Yeah, good shout.
Yes. So we've got the corking gun here. It's the GCG 18V-310. So again, variable speed control on this, variable trigger as well. really quite an easy machine to use now. It takes away some of the skill that's involved with caulking guns, sealant guns, that sort of thing. But yeah, really good pushing force on this. Really easy to control as well. Twin trigger, so we've got the top releases the plunger. There you go, and you can see variable trigger, and the speed control just sits on the back there. Also backs off slightly, obviously to prevent the sealant from spilling out afterwards.
I must admit, I'm not terribly excited, but it does what you need it to do.
Exactly. Yeah, it's there if you need it.
Right. I bet no one is aware of one of these bad boys. Okay, so you know how I talked about some of the onboard tool dust extraction, the GDE, the 16 and the 28, depending on which model we're talking about. This one is for machines that do not have the contacts that you have on something like the 24, the 26, GBH as I'm saying. So what you can see here is you've got the ability here on the back to add a separate battery. I'll pop on 5 amp hour there. Okay, and what you can do is you can mount this onto, say, even like a mains 2 kilo hammer, for example. Yeah. And now you've got an onboard dust extraction unit which has its own separate battery to run the dust extraction unit. Yeah, any machine that's running a 52mm collar or drill collar is spec'd in the manual, so you can check whether your machine will be applicable to fit it. Yeah, just screws on in place there instead of the side handle. So now, and hopefully you saw in the previous section where I was talking about safety features that the onboard dust extraction, like this is, as I said, this is basically the same as the GDE 16. It does a tremendous amount of heavy lifting. Yes, it does. A HEPA filter, I believe, in these, isn't it? Exactly. So again, always worth collecting the dust at source as soon as it's created. So this, in the place of any other extraction mechanism, of course, is perfect. Because it's not a class filter, so it's not an L, M or an H, we'd always recommend you still use the relevant PPE, but in order to just speed up how quickly you can tidy up site, and also remember, removing dust from the hull just makes you more efficient when doing your drilling job anyway. Very much so. It's a really great attachment, especially if you're working overhead. Right. Okay, so Dan, what else have you got on your side? Top shelf.
Sure. Oh, you got the GBL. So the alternative to collecting the dust is obviously using a blower. Not advisable, obviously, when it comes to silica or any surfaces or materials like that. But yeah, with wood dust, anything like that you can safely blower it, then this is absolutely perfect. It's also got an attachment as well for cleaning out drilling. So when we're talking about chemical fixings into concrete, there's an attachment for this that allows you to actually blow the dust, clean out the hole far more efficiently than just standing there with your...
Yeah, for concrete anchors and things like that, when you have to prepare the hull. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. For systems like that, you can't have the bonding agent bond to the dust. It has to bond directly to the concrete. So something like this will allow you to clean out a hole a lot quicker. I believe it comes with a brush as well, so you can agitate any dust that's stuck in there and remove it with this particular machine. So yeah, leaf blower as well. I mean, literally, it's there plenty strong enough for that application as well.
Now, you'll be surprised we haven't talked about this yet, but radios, of course. We've got two in the, well, I say two, we've technically got three. We've got two types. This is the one I prefer because this is the biggest one. It's the biggest one, and more importantly, it's the one that's got the subwoofer, which makes a big difference as far as I'm concerned.
Really good sound quality. This is my go-to for...
Yeah, it's running, yeah, exactly. It's running, look, you've got your battery bay at the back here, and you can pop anything up to, anything other than the 12 amp hour Pro Core. I mean, you could put a 12 amp in if you want, but you wouldn't be able to close the lid.
That's it.
Yeah. That's only a minor point. Then you've got the smaller of the two. So you've got this one, which has, as you can see, the charging ports as well as the mains cable. So you can run it either on the power pack, or you can plug it into the mains if you want to. The other one we've got is this is the 5 series, and then we've got the 2 series, 2 different versions. This one is DAB, and we've got one that is DAB and one that isn't DAB, that is slightly smaller.
Yeah, I believe they're all Bluetooth. So you still got that connectivity feature there.
That's right. And I remember a lot of you guys are desperately asking, we need a DAB radio, we need a DAB radio. Well, that's good, because you asked us a lot on social for it, and we got the feedback and we passed it on. I know it took a little longer than we wanted, but eventually we made it. And then again, that's the point that we've been making throughout the entire of this live stream, that if you ask for it, we will listen, and where we can, we will provide it.
Yeah.
So
we do. I would say, regarding the radio as well, we have come out with an outstanding product when we talked about the connectivity.
Yes, that's right. So now we could take a bit more questions and answers if you've got any. So Lizzie, what do you have for us?
We do indeed. Another one from PF Cutters. Are you planning to bring out a 6-inch deep cut BITURBO Brushless bandsaw?
BITURBO?
Bandsaw? No, not as far as I know. I know they've released that last bandsaw that we looked at, the 63. That was a reworking of the previous model, but I've not seen anything regarding a larger BITURBO bandsaw.
Maybe because I've got some inklings that we're going to start working on pipe tools.
Yep.
Maybe perhaps we might end up getting some other metalworking tools as well, like a bandsaw. But as Danny says, not yet. But things seem to be going in this kind of direction.
Definitely. When we're talking about crimps, when we're talking about press tools, that sort of thing for plumbing, stands to reason that there's going to be maybe a little bit of an update regarding a pipe cutter of some sort.
Yeah, look at where we're going with things like our drywall products. We're going through different kinds of applications and updating and adding products to the 18-volt range, such as these drywall machines, the collated screw gun update, as well as that brand new machine, the GCU 18V-30.
Yeah.
There's a good chance that we'll move into other kinds of things, and we've pretty much proved that BITURBO brushless machines really do work. They really do offer you that extra power that the standard 18-volt machines don't, which opens up this huge portfolio of products, much bigger products that we didn't have the power supply for originally. Now, BITURBO brushless, Procore 18-volt batteries, that gives us the ability to innovate into products we didn't think we could have before.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And then a couple of questions asking about a USB-C adapter for our batteries, saying that they'd be useful to charge a laptop.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to be the. If I'm being honest, I haven't seen anything, but that's the logical progression for the GAA 18 and the 18 and the 12. That they will obviously go towards USB-C. You might know already that USB-C is now the standard across Europe, and it's probably going to be worldwide as the standard for USB.
You find many of our measuring tools have already made the leap to USB-C, so
that's right.
It stands to reason that it's going to be a natural progression for what we already have.
Yeah, exactly. Any more, Lizzie?
Yeah, we've got a question about if we're going to be at Harrogate Tool Show. All I can say is keep an eye on our Instagram. We'll be announcing where we are. And then one more, any plans on a BITURBO brushless 18-volt blower?
Right, touched your nerve there.
As you can see by our ums and ahs, that there's obviously something in development, but it's a little too early for us to say anything yet. Again, as soon as we get the go-ahead, we're probably going to do a live stream on a number of tools.
I don't think it's going to be long either.
No. But we can't tell you too much more, so it's a bit
keep an eye out
hush-hush. But we're hush-hush about a lot of things, but that probably means there's a lot of things coming.
Yes.
And then one last thing, we've got the competition winners.
Oh, right. Okay. So throughout the whole of the whole stream, it was quite a long stream. What are we up to now? Wow, nearly 2.5 hours worth. Wow. We had a few questions that we popped on our Instagram channel, and there were some simple ones. Like the first one we had here was, what was the max drilling diameter in wood of the GSB 18V-150C? One of my favourite tools, obviously. Yeah. Surprise, surprise. I think I said it. It's 150 millimetre hole saw size.
Yes, that's it. So the winner of that particular quiz was JL Sanders.
Lucky lad.
Lucky lad. Yeah.
You're gonna get. Well, we should be modelling it, yeah, but our standard Bosch Professional hoodie, it's a good bit of kit. We sometimes give them the way it shows, but there's never enough, so well done, mate, you've got one. The next question we had was about one of the machines you talked about, which was the GWS 18V-180 PC. So that's our
It's a bit of a strange one, that one, because it's the cutting capacity of a large angle grinder from a small angle grinder body.
Exactly. And the answer for that was 61 millimetres.
And the winner for that one was Wad Punch.
Good name.
Yeah, it's a good name.
All right, so we're going to be sending you a Bosch Professional hoodie as well. And then lastly, the final question we had of the evening was the max drilling diameter of the GBH 18V-34CF. Now that's a bit of a trick question, because normally with our hammer drills, it's normally the second value. So with things like the 45 and the 40, this one's a bit of a, what's the word?
Yeah, it's a bit of a dark horse, that one, isn't it?
That's right, yeah, it's 32 millimetres.
It's 32.
So who won that one, Dan?
So that's Dave's Workbench. So I've been keeping an eye on you in the chat all the evening.
So well done to you three. Congratulations on your Bosch Professional hoodie. We will DM you on Instagram to make sure we get the details for you, and then we'll pop one of those in the post for you. So just wait for our message. One of the behind the scenes teams will get on that and send it over to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got a few little bits left just to round out because we were trying to aim for about 2.5 hours. We've covered really everything that I think me and Danny wanted to talk about. Other than I thought we'll see if there's any more questions, and then we would also want to talk about some of our favourite tools.
Yes, yeah, I think that's probably the best way to go. Shall I start off this one?
Go on, Dan.
Right, I think we discussed it earlier. For me, one of my favourite personal tools is the GTB 18V-45. We've discussed this as a collated screw gun for drywall. However, there's a function on this that I think sets it out amongst most of our older machines, definitely some of the competitors' ones as well. This has an automatic function as well here, so it doesn't even fire up until you get to the point where you want to drive the screw in. So you're saving valuable battery power then during usage of the machine, and it's literally just a single button activation as well. So
yeah, power save mode.
Power save mode.
I agree. Good choice, Danny. I appreciate that too. I mean, I'm not a drywaller, but I know drywallers that are, and I've seen how they work. And often they're just continuously holding the trigger down or lock-on trigger, and that noise is all through all the way through their application. The ability to just cut that noise out means that just working on site must be so much better.
Literally, it's just push the machine, done. Yeah,
exactly.
Fit and forget.
Good choice. I mean, we talked about this at the new tools, new year, new tools, and this was one of the ones I demoed. And if I can demo it well, that means it's an excellent machine.
Yeah. So it all works with the GMA 55 as well, but also works with the MA 55, the older model. So if you actually have the attachment already and you just want to update the drive section, then it's there for you.
Yeah. I mean, the old machine was good. This one's just better. They were both brushless. This has more torque. And again, as you say, that power save function, that's really what differentiates the difference. It seems minor, but that makes the big difference for me personally. Now, one of my tools, what should I pick? What should I pick?
What you got? That's a nice selection over there.
Well, I'm going to pick out one that I know that's a favourite of yours too.
Yes.
Okay, we talked about it earlier. It's the new 18 volt or the GSR 18V-90 FC, so our flexi click system. So the ability to remove the chucks and change them. And as Danny pointed out previously, that it takes all the same attachments, see what I done?
Yep.
It takes all the same attachments that you had on the previous model, the GSR 18V-60 FC.
Yeah, so we've got the 90 degree with the 3-jaw chuck, 30mm maximum drilling diameter out of that one. So that fits straight on there. Pop that one on. Hang on, there you go.
This is your Prisma.
This is my Prisma, yeah. A pig's a hill to die on, it's that one.
Yes.
There you go, so it's a simple fitment. The idea part of this is you don't have to take it off to adjust the angle, you literally just pull that forwards and rotate and it locks back in again. So that's, much more easier application than that. We also, on top of that, have an offset adapter. So what this does is allows you to actually drive into corner areas. So areas where you wouldn't normally be able to get a straight screwdriver bit into. So let's just offset there.
If you're doing like kitchen fitting or anything, you're working inside enclosed spaces near the wall, just trying to drive those awkward screws. A lot of people will just try and do it on the angle and just go for it.
That's it.
This is the more elegant way of doing it. And again, the ability to quickly adjust. This is one thing that what we do really well for our FlexiClick system, not just the 18 volt system, but also the ones we've talked at length, which is the 12 volt system. Yeah,
the other advantages, especially when it comes to flat pack furniture, where you're trying to put even kitchen cupboards or anything like that together, to be able to drive a screw at an angle into chipboard is not great. You run the risk of potentially breaking out and destroying a perfectly good cabinet. But with this, you can drive the screws straight and true every time. That was the 1/4 inch drive right angle attachment, so similar to the 30mm chuck attachment. However, this drives 1/4 inch drive.
And lastly,
and the final one is our SDS Plus attachment. So this allows you to turn your 18 volt driver into a pneumatic hammer. So again, runs off of the FlexiClick power supply.
That's right,
around about, I think, a joule of impact energy on this as well. Exactly. So it's a good item to have in your bag, especially when it comes to putting up curtains specifically. I've used this one at home to drill into lintels as well. It's plenty powerful for that. It's plenty powerful for most applications.
Yeah. If you do pick one of these up, remember to turn it on to maximum torque setting. So you need to have it on the drill mode. There you go. And you also need to have it preferably in speed 2.
Yeah.
Right, and then that's how you get this working. Oh, and in forward. We've had some people asking why doesn't it work? Need it in forward as well, mate. Okay, so I just wanted to show one last thing on this machine before we move on, because remember the base model of this tool is going to be the GSR 18V-90, so the 90C. And one of the features that we had people asking about is how the precision clutch works. Obviously we've got it engaged here. I'm going to switch it off very quickly and I'm going to pop this back onto the lowest torque setting. I'm just going to use my hand to hold it, and you'll hear the usual noise you get when you've reached that torque value. Right, so okay, and that's it. Just that's it just disengaging. If I pop on the precision control, you'll see how it. You'll see how it works. Simple as my finger is still on the trigger. So it's disengaged. So it's just a much more elegant way of doing it, less wear and tear.
That's it. It just cuts the power to the machine, just to eliminate wear and tear to the clutch.
Yeah, and also it does help prevent, if you continuously press the button, you do slightly tweak in a little bit of torque each time.
That's it.
Just disables that.
Yeah, it'll prevent over torquing.
Any other products now on your side?
I'm not sure if I have I?
If you don't, I've got another one.
My other favourite one was this one. I borrowed this one myself, and I've used this at home working on my own car. Fantastic machine to have, as even just to accommodate the jack and the spare wheel in your car. It's more than capable to do most, if not all, regular maintenance applications to your motor vehicle, your van, anything like that. So it's 450 Newton meters of maximum torque. We're also running here with the AB functionality that we covered earlier as well. So again, we've got the torque limiting functionality here and the automatic bolt release. So yeah, all the bells and whistles. Really small package, 1/2-inch drive, connected.
That's right.
Everything there.
Mine's similar to you. It's the GDX 18V-210C. So I thought you were going to talk about one of the tools of connectivity. I'm glad you chose that one. Me, personally, I absolutely adore this machine. And it's one of the reasons why I'm such an advocate for the connectivity. It's because of tools like this with the app setting, with the AB mode. Okay, we've got a previous live stream where we've talked about this machine when it first launched. I think it was our impact drivers and wrenches. And we went into real depth on the ability, the functionality you get with the AB mode or the torque mode setting. The ability for you to drive both screws and sockets on this machine because it's a GDX. So it's these two things combined, GDX, hybrid, and the AB mode. I absolutely love that. Okay, so I'm glad that you picked the same one. Talking about smart features and connectivity features, we've got one last competition between Dan and I. We're looking at the electronic angle detect. And we kind of avoided talking about the 150 as our favourite tool, because who are we kidding, we both love that machine. But the electronic angle detect is one of those features that when people see it, they're like, oh, okay, I get it. So we've got a little video where I think this time I thought I'd eyeball it. And I thought you decided that you'll try and drive at 45 degrees while using electronic angle detection. So let's roll it. As you can see, I did have a go. I made sure that I had a 45-degree angle set up so I could try and guess it, but I thought I'd just be authentic and chuck it to one side. I had a rough idea.
It doesn't look far off, to be fair.
I know what I'm mostly doing most of the time.
There you go. So I've set up this time with the angle assist. It takes me a little bit longer just to dial it in with the connectivity features via the phone. But yeah, I think I've nailed it pretty well there. But we'll see how it comes out in the measure up at the end here. So there you go. I believe you're on the.
Well, I'm the one that didn't do so well. I'm on the bottom there.
Yeah,
so not bad 47, but you nailed it.
Yeah, 45. I mean, obviously there's going to be some variation dependent on the length of the drill bit as well. The longer the drill bit, the less accurate it's going to be. This was quite a long drill bit, to be fair, we were using, but still. Kind of nailed it, I think.
Yeah, I remember a lot of it is about saving time, and it's more about consistency. I could have done it a bit more accurate. I could have taken more time, but that's the point. It would have taken more time, and I may have needed some assistance as well. Okay, so maybe what we'll do, final questions, and then we'll call it a day. And thank you very much for spending all this time with Danny and I, and obviously the rest of the team with Rob, Lizzie, and Nat behind the scenes there. So what have we got, Lizzie? Any questions left?
Just a few questions to finish off. Would love to see a cordless flashlight that's brighter than the 10,000C light.
Brighter? Wow,
Yeah.
what are you doing, lighting up the sun? Yes, 10,000 lumens is pretty bright. I don't know if I've seen anything brighter. I have seen some plans for some different lights, but they're not going to be brighter.
No, more for lighting larger spaces rather than sort of more directional lights that we tend to produce now. But yeah, keep an eye out, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just a couple more from PF Cutters. As you mentioned FlexiClick, would you be upgrading the FlexiClick system on the 12 volt range? Wrong live stream again.
Yeah, wrong live stream. Well, I'll be honest, there's two different machines, the GSI 12V-15FC and the 35FC.
Yeah.
The 35 is really good. I don't see how we would improve it. 35 newton meters of torque.
We have just expanded the range to include the impact drive, the STS Plus, so we do have an STS Plus attachment now.
Exactly, it's full.
So
I think that range is fully rounded. You've got a brushless, you've got a high torque version on the FlexiClick machine. Yeah, that's pretty impressive for a 12 volt range. So I would say, well, I know I haven't seen any plans, and I'll also argue I don't think we need it. Not right now anyway, not within 12 volt.
it depends entirely what you want to do with it. I mean, if you've got any ideas, weird, wacky, or wonderful, just pop them in the chat, and we'll certainly pass them on.
And if you want more power, that's exactly what the 18 volt system's for. So you step up to that. Okay, so any more questions, Lizzie?
Yep, PF Cutters again. Will there be a brushless digital torque wrench?
Digital torque wrench. Well, I would say there's some development going on those kinds of tools. It won't necessarily be torque rated because that's not. We've got an entire different division that looks after those.
Yes, that's more of your production tools, that sort of thing.
So no,
we do a brushless version in that, but that's beyond the normal person's sort of price range when it comes to power tools.
that's right. Yeah.
But not regarding sort of not a torque wrench directly. No.
And then just finally a couple of live stream requests actually. One dedicated to the L-Box system and then also the 12 volt system people are keen to see.
Well, the L-Box system, we have the entire range sitting there waiting, so watch this space. We'll definitely have something coming in the future.
Yeah, don't forget, remember, we do a live stream every 2 weeks or twice a month, depending on how you look at it. I'm not sure what the next one's going to be on. We're going to have, Dan and the entire team, we're going to have a very nice rest for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been a big live stream. I think we could rest for about a week non-stop.
I think so.
But then see what the next topic's going to be. But as Danny said, yes, absolutely, we're going to look at the L-Box Sortimo system without a doubt. Okay, so I think that's the last question. I thought I'd bring up one last curveball when it comes to machines or tools that run on the 18 volt system. I'm not going to go into too much depth because I don't want to bore you and it's already 6:30, but don't forget there are actually a number of our professional laser measure devices that also run on the the 18 volt battery platform. So it doesn't have to be about power tools. It can also be, put it in properly, Chris. It can also be on this platform here, you see. You can easily run on the 18 volt batteries on a number of our rotation lasers.
That's it, yeah.
So hopefully we've given you food for thought. Hopefully we've shown you a lot of products that already exist in the range. We've given you some teasers on some products that we're launching around May. So there's a few of them intermixed amongst some of those products.
Yep.
It's been a really big live stream, so I really hope you've enjoyed your time. So for myself and Danny.
And for me, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, thanks.